Get in pole position for cheaper van insurance. With mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. See what you could save and compare your van insurance today. With mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. Looking to sell your Volvo? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good morning and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on the biggest day of the season so far in the title race. Rangers host Celtic, looking to go top and then move on to their game in hand. Brendan Rodgers knows success in this fixture all too well and is out to make it 3 from 3 in the head-to-heads this season. Drama and controversy are guaranteed, so get ready for the latest instalment of this famous old rivalry in the company of Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
There comes a time when the chips are down, when the teams have been chosen and all speculation is at an end. It is now about mentality, otherwise known as bottle. If Rangers win today, I cannot see beyond them for the league title. If Celtic win, it's a psychological blow to Rangers of seismic proportions. And the last Old Firm game of the season is at Celtic Park. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a separate life form.
Yeah, we've been building up to it for a long time, it seems, and I'm sure we're in for drama. It always is in this game, and Brendan Rodgers has a chance just to go top before Rangers have their game in hand on Wednesday. For Rangers, it would be a real pivotal one that they haven't managed to do against Celtic in a real meaningful game for a long time. It's a big afternoon ahead in Glasgow.
I don't think it's a league decider, but I think whoever wins today will go a long, long way to being favourites and obviously going and lift the title. But it's all about excitement, it's all about the game, and I'm looking forward to it, Gordon.
The scene is set. It is almost showtime at Ibrox, but let's bring you team news because Jim Duffy's there alongside Andrew McLean.
Yes, big decisions to be made by both managers coming in to this game. I'll start with the home team. 2 changes for Rangers. Borna Barisic and Todd Cantwell drop out the starting lineup. In come Dujon Sterling and Tom Lawrence. That means Ridvan Yilmaz not fit enough to come in to the squad for this game. Abdallah Sima only makes the bench for Rangers as well. So it's Jack Butland in goal, the back 4, James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, John Souttar and Dujon Sterling. The 2 holding midfielders, John Lundstrom and Mohamed Diamandi. It's Scott Wright on one wing, Fabio Silva on the other, Tom Lawrence in behind Cyril Dessers, who leads the line at Ibrox. The substitutes: McCrory, Cantwell, Matondo, Sima, Dowell, Balogun, Barisic, King and McCausland for Celtic. The big question was whether Callum McGregor would make it for Celtic in this game. He's in the squad but only makes the bench. Celtic unchanged from that win against Livingston last time out. Joe Hart continues in goal. The back 4, Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Liam Scales and Greg Taylor. The midfield 3, Tomoki Iwata, Matt O'Reilly and Reo Hatate. Nicholas Kuhn and Daisen Maeda either side of Kyogo. The substitutes: Bain, Ida, Yang, Nawrocki, McGregor, Bernardo, Forrest, Ralston and Welsh. The referee for this one at Ibrox is John Beaton. The VAR is Nick Walsh. Jim Duffy alongside me. What are the big takeaways for you in those starting lineups?
Yeah, I mean, I think in Rangers in particular, I think there's 3 that might surprise some of the Rangers fans. Obviously, Barisic being left out, Sterling getting that left back berth. I think Tom Lawrence for Cantwell, and I think that Scott Wright getting a starting berth. I think a lot of people thought Sima might start, or even Matondo. So I think those are the 3 big calls for Philippe Clement and his team. Obviously Sterling, we know he's very, very adaptable, and wherever he's went into in this Rangers team, he's done it really, really well. Up against Kuhn in that right hand side. Kuhn likes to come in the pitch a little bit, so that might suit a right footed player. So that'll be an interesting contest. And obviously the big news for Celtic is that Callum McGregor only makes the bench. But other than that, it's you would expect all the other players to be the ones that would be expected to play for Celtic. Listen, it's one of those intense atmospheres. We say it time and time again. Hugh's 100% right. It's about how players handle it. You just want to make sure they stay calm, they stay focused, and they do the jobs their managers ask them to do, which is to focus on playing football and getting a positive result and not get caught up in all the build-up to it.
The noise is building here at Ibrox. 10 minutes to go until kick-off.
Mark Wilson, the biggest debate all week, or the biggest talking point team news-wise, has been Callum McGregor. He doesn't start. What does that do to the fixture?
Well, I thought he would start. I thought when we saw the pictures emerge that he was back in full training, it was a sign that he was going to start. A couple of the guys disagreed with that and they were proved right. Look, Iwata's done a fine job in McGregor's absence. He's a sort of no-frills character that holds the middle of the pitch for Celtic, and it's going to be a hugely important area in this fixture. I'm sure it'll be a boost for some of the Rangers players that McGregor's not playing, because in this fixture he has dominated it. He has dictated the tempo time and time again, but if he's going to have any influence, it's going to come off the bench this afternoon, which I will be surprised if he does emerge, because if he's fit enough, I suspect that he would have started. That kind of suggests to me he's not really up to speed for this one.
I thought McGregor was always a smokescreen. I don't believe he ever had a chance of starting this game. Brendan Rodgers was simply keeping the hopes of the Celtic supporters alive, but all the time I'm sure he knew that he was not going to start the game. So it is a blow for Celtic, and Iwata really has to rise to the occasion. I know he's a tidy player, but this is the biggest game of the season, and the atmosphere is hostile to a degree that Iwata will not have experienced before. He and Nicholas Kuhn will have to rise to the occasion this afternoon. But McGregor out means it's Celtic light.
To be fair, Brendan Rodgers has said in the build-up today, Gordon, that he will play a part in the game, no doubt. He's just not quite there physically to start.
Yeah, I thought it would have been a big ask to go with Hatate and McGregor in the middle of the park, which is going to be so important today at Ibrox, especially with not a lot of game time under a belt in recent weeks. Hatate played last week for 65 minutes at Livingston, looked very sharp and looked very good. I think that's why he's got the nod. Yes, it's great for Celtic. We talk about benches could play a big part this afternoon. They've got a very good player, their captain, their leader, sitting there. And Juicy Gordon, Brendan Rodgers is looking to use him.
And from a Rangers perspective, a couple of talking points. Dujon Sterling preferred to Borna Barisic at left back. I suppose that probably tells a story about the end to his Rangers career that we're going to see. Very little involvement in big games. And Tom Lawrence ahead of Todd Cantwell.
I did think Lawrence would be in ahead of Cantwell. I suggested that yesterday. I just think you get a bit more graft in there with Lawrence, and a bit more reliable in a fixture like this, especially in that centre of the pitch. So that's going to be interesting. Lawrence in and around Iwata, who wins that battle might determine where this game goes, or the flow of this game goes. But look, for Sterling, I think Jim Duffy hit the nail on the head there. Barisic in this fixture has struggled. Now he's up against Kuhn, he's not up against Abada, of course, but Kuhn likes to come inside, and having a right footer there playing up left back might just help that and shut that angle down for him. So that may have come into Clement's thinking. Be interesting to see how that plays out as the afternoon goes on.
I'm not sure, in the eyes of the Rangers fans, Gordon, Scott Wright goes down as someone that they would have automatically starting games of this magnitude. However, time and time again he's been given the nod in various circumstances. Is this maybe more about trying to get that energy off the ball, try and close Celtic down, try and put Celtic under pressure early on?
Yeah, I think it will be. I'm a bit surprised that Scott Wright's in there. I thought he'd have changed it about a little bit, but the manager believes in the fact that he can go and do that job, Gordon, the pressing, the working. He's got a bit of pace about himself. Listen, we've seen him in big games before, and sometimes he performs. I know the Rangers fans, you know, are sort of mixed bag with him, but this could be a big afternoon for him. But I look at that Rangers front line. The one for me standing out is Dessers. I like Dessers. I think he's brought a lot to the table. But if you're going to make a name for yourself as a Rangers centre forward, this is the game today for you.
They're not number nines necessarily, Hugh, but in terms of the position, they look at Kyogo, Cyril Dessers, a tale of two strikers charged with scoring the decisive goals. One's done it before and one hasn't. What a big day it could be for those two.
Well, it's a day that could put Cyril Dessers on a pedestal at Ibrox. He has good numbers, as they say, scored plenty of goals, doesn't get the credit that he perhaps is due for that, simply because I think it takes him 4 chances to get 1 goal. But so what? As long as you get the 1 goal, Today it's his chance to go onto a pedestal. With Kyogo Furuhashi, he has got, over the course and distance, been Celtic's outstanding player in matches against Rangers. People have spoken about him this season as being a shadow of the player he was under Ange Postecoglou, but he subconsciously might fancy this today. He might just think, this is my fixture, I always do well here.
Yeah, well, he's scored 2 winners already this season in this fixture, and 2 terrific goals in that. And yes, he doesn't look like the player he was under Postecoglou, but he is still a threat to any side he comes up against. I think the inclusion of Rio Hatate also helps Kyogo's case. I think the two of them link up pretty well. Hatate's got that eye for that pass, Kyogo always on the move, and he'll certainly benefit from Hatate being back in the side. So it's a game made for big players. This season Kyogo certainly showed that he's willing to take that responsibility on his shoulders.
I do agree with Mark with Hatate, but I think where Kyogo's starting to come alive again is the form of Kuhn. I think coming in onto that left foot, finding him with nice passes. Kyogo's all about on the shoulder, making those runs, timing those runs. Centre halves don't like that. They always want to see Kyogo in front, but he's a big game player. He's got to be a real danger this afternoon.
The teams are almost ready at Ibrox, not quite yet, waiting. How are the players feeling at this moment in time, Mark Wilson?
Oh well, of course, nerves. I heard Brendan Rodgers saying that there was no nerves, but I think you'd be a fool to believe that. When you're standing in that tunnel and you're ready to go, I mean, every one of those players will have the butterflies in the tummy, and like we said it time and time again, when you're standing in the tunnel, you just want the game to start and get it underway and get your first touch out the way.
A grown man with the use of the word tummy. It's an interesting start to Sunday here on Clyde One Super Scoreboard. But we move on because we have bigger fish to fry than slagging Mark Wilson, quite frankly. So let's go back to Ibrox where Jim Duffy's alongside Andrew McLean.
Yes, a bit of a calm at the moment as the supporters wait for the players to make their way out the tunnel. Blue skies here at Ibrox. A lot of blue over to my left as well, where there's a big display that says "We are the boys in blue." It's been tough for the supporters trying to set that up because the wind is swirling around Ibrox as well. You wonder if that will have an impact on the game as well, but this is what we have been building up to for weeks. For the next 90 plus minutes, this city will stand still. All eyes on Ibrox. So little between the sides, so much at stake. Pressure is at an all-time high, and it will come down to who can handle it the best. Jim Duffy.
Yeah, I mean, again, we know it's blustery, but Ibrox, because of the design of it, I think it's protected pretty well. There's a bit of a swirl in the corner. Obviously, you know, the Rangers fans, some of the streamers and the ticker tape and stuff like that are on the pitch. You know, the ground staff trying to make sure that's clear before the referee gets the players out. But listen, the pitch is magnificent. The stadium is absolutely rammed, as you would expect. And I know, you know, it's not the first time there's been no opposing fans, but it is quite a strange atmosphere in these type of games because it is so one-sided, and it's about how Celtic deal with that. There's a couple of the players won't have experienced it before. How they react yet, I think we have to wait and see. Probably the first 10 or 15 minutes will tell you that.
Yeah, the players are being led out the tunnel at the moment. James Tavernier, the Rangers captain, leading them out, and Cameron Carter-Vickers, who has the armband for Celtic today in the absence of Callum McGregor, who's on the bench. So it's the American international that is wearing that armband. The team's lining up at the moment, and we won't be able to see them soon because there is a sea of blue smoke that is making its way across Ibrox at the moment. So many players have been let off in that Broomloan Road stand that at one point was occupied by Celtic fans in these games, but as Jim said, it is a fully Rangers crowd today. That will change next season, but we do have 2 more of these league games with fully partisan crowds. The players just shaking hands at the moment. I'll give you a recap of those teams. Jack Butland starting in goal for Rangers. A big game for him because England manager Gareth Southgate is in attendance in this one at Ibrox. The Rangers back 4: James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, John Souttar and Dusan Sterling. The 2 holding midfielders, John Lundstrom and Mohamed Diamandi. Scott Wright and Fabio Silva either side of Tom Lawrence in that number 10 role. Cyril Dessers up top for Celtic. Joe Hart in goal. The back 4: Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Liam Scales and Greg Taylor. The midfield 3: Timothy Iwata, Matt O'Reilly and Rio Hatate. Nicholas Kuhn and Dyson Maeda either side of Kyogo. And you look at these teams, Jim, A lot of players have a lot of experience in these fixtures, but some players don't. The likes of Mohamed Diamande, the likes of Fabio Silva, the likes of Nicholas Kuhn, if they weren't aware of what this fixture is like, they'll already know by what the atmosphere is like in here.
Yeah, I mean, these players have never experienced anything like that. You know, it's such a unique occasion. You know, there's not many football stadiums and football fixtures around the world that can create this kind of atmosphere. And again, the big players love it, they thrive on it. This is what you play football for, to go and get yourself involved in these type of games. I mean, they say the pitch is magnificent, it's a decent day. You know, two teams on decent run of form. You know, going to go at it head to head. You know, we just can't wait and kick off. But I think for Rangers it's important they start the game on the front foot, but more importantly keep their foot on the pedal, because at times they've started the first 5 minutes okay and then allowed Celtic to find their way in. So I think the message from Philip Clement will be to press Celtic really high, but keep that intensity going for as long as you possibly can.
Tom Lawrence standing over the ball. John Beaton looks at his watch and blows the whistle. We are underway at Ibrox.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Interested in a career in pharmacy? Apply today to join their team.
Well, that is it. Weeks and months of pre-match talking is done. It is now showtime, and we're underway between Rangers and Celtic in a game that could have huge implications on the destination of the title. And already we've got a goal at Ibrox. What an incredible start to this one.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
20 seconds on the clock. It's Rangers 0, Celtic 1. It is Daisen Maeda. It was a ball. He had no chance of winning it. It looked like he chased James Tavernier down, and as Tavernier tried to clear it, it ricochets off Daisen Maeda, goes beyond Jack Butland and into the net. And what a start at Ibrox, Hugh Keevins.
I said to you this game is a separate life form, but even I have never seen anything like that in decades of watching Rangers Celtic matches. It is astonishing, and it has stunned Ibrox, and it has stunned Tavernier, and Celtic in their wildest dreams could never have envisioned what has just happened there. A ricochet to end all ricochets.
Well, I think Tavernier's to blame here. I think he's laboursome in getting on the ball. I think he's looking for his goalkeeper to come and get it. He misjudges it. Maeda's after him, and by the time he decides he's going to clear it out for a throw-in, Maeda's on him like a flash, and of course a huge slice of luck for that to ricochet and go past Butland from 18 yards. An incredible start.
It is, as Mark Wilson says, Gordon, I should have added the distance. It is a ricochet off Daisen Maeda from outside the box, and it rockets past Jack Butland, who's got no chance.
Jack Butland's absolutely no chance. He never in his wildest dreams thinks that ball's coming anywhere near him. I totally agree with Mark. When you see the replay, Tavernier has got to react quicker. He knows Maeda's as quick as any player in the league. He labours onto it. Maeda gets there, takes an opportunity, takes a chance, and gets his reward. What a start for Celtic.
It has been like rocket fuel for Celtic, because
their tails are up here.
They are now going for it, and Rangers have to regroup and reset.
I was just about to come to you for your predictions.
We've got to give him an chance.
Already it's out. Is this the earliest that a Hugh Keevins prediction has ever been blown out of the water? You said yesterday 3-0 Rangers, and it has been wiped away within 20 seconds, even by your standards.
Yes, it's extraordinary. But I can only say in mitigation that no one in the world anywhere saw this coming. Not the most rabid Celtic supporter could have imagined what has just taken place. So I change my prediction now to Rangers 3, Celtic 1.
I'll stick
there's no
with
point. Did you give one yesterday?
Well, I said a draw, but I'm going to go for 2-2.
Right, okay.
I went on the fence with a draw as well, but it's a great start for Celtic, you've got to say. Even Brendan Rodgers looked shocked when the ball went in the back of net. But all credit to Maeda. That shows you never give up, take a chance. Tavernier, you have got to switch on. Poor defender.
As we always say in this game, it gives Celtic something to hold on to. I didn't think that they would be in the ascendancy at any point in the game, and they were in the ascendancy after 20 seconds.
I can't believe Tavernier expects his goalkeeper to come and get that there. You know, so early in the game, you have to be switched on.
However, Celtic have been robbed here. Liam Scales trying to play out Tom Lawrence, I think it was. I think that's exactly why he's in the team. He got in amongst Liam Scales, took the ball off him, was brought down. Free kick Rangers. I'm thinking back to yesterday's show when David Friel predicted 0-0 as well.
They're all falling by the wayside.
If ever there was a goal, though, that summed up Daisen Maeda, it feels like he's been working up to this moment. He's had a few variations where he's bundled the ball in and he's shown great desire. Has there ever been a goal that's been scored purely on desire and pressing? He's done nothing other than close James Tavernier down from outside the box.
He is a pressing machine.
Such an impressive work rate, isn't it?
Well, incredible.
What's he got, about 10-15 yards of a start?
Probably, yeah. But of course Tavernier would make it if he starts off at full pace, but it's because he's so hesitant.
Well, ball comes in from James Tavernier, but it's straight into the gloves of Joe Hart, which is exactly what Celtic will be looking for.
Well, Gareth,
see, going back to Maeda there, I think he's got to take all the credit in the world. I think he recognises that Tavernier is labouring onto this, so I'm going to take an opportunity here.
I'll tell you what, do not be fooled. I know Ibrox is mostly enclosed, but the way that ball just ran out for a Rangers goal kick, the wind is having a massive impact on this. In fact, there's like litter and bits of the tifo displays blowing all over the place. Mark, that's going to be a factor.
I wonder even if the goal, you know, the pace that ricochet came off Maeda and travelled past Butland, it's got to have been wind assisted as well. I know it was on the deck,
yeah, Celtic have the wind behind them, if that makes sense, because Kyogo's just tried to spin one in behind for Maeda, and it just
actually looked a good ball at the start, and then it just took off. So very difficult conditions for the players to put up with this afternoon.
And I think that's what helps Maeda, because Butland has absolutely no chance to react to that. Absolutely no chance.
Gareth Southgate must be sitting there thinking, it's a bit lively up here, is it not? He's obviously come to have a look at Jack Butland, and 20 seconds into the game, Butland's conceded, or Rangers have conceded, a goal which Butland knows very little about.
Going all the way back to 2011, when scoring first at Rangers, Celtic have never lost. So we'll see if that continues or that record's there to be broken this afternoon. Do you know who I've started thinking about? The guy who called in on Tuesday and said he would drop James Tavernier for this game. I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's right, but I'm pretty sure he'll be dialing the number right now. I told you so. I told you he was liability.
Is that the quickest goal in this fixture?
I
can't think anything else.
20 seconds on the clock.
I think the historians will be checking now, but I do not ever recall anything quicker than that.
Good opening for Rangers, though, well defended by Liam Scales, and then Carter Vickers, Cyril Dessers.
He just done enough there, Scales. I thought he was beat. I thought Dessers was in.
Now here goes Celtic up the other end. It's an open start. Kuhn tries to wriggle, but John Suter comes across, draws a foul as well, and Rangers have a free kick. You can see Rangers, Gordon, really trying to not let that affect them. Their response is going to be really important here, because, you know, moments in games and what they can do can flip momentum and put the fear into you, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, because every time you come out, especially one of these games, you're thinking, right, for the first 10-15 minutes it's going to be frantic. Of course it is, the pace of it, everything about it. Just settle into the game. We're at home, we've got this crowd behind us, and all of a sudden 20 odd seconds you're 1-0 down. So you've got to show a bit of composure and a little bit of discipline. They just need to be careful. There's a long way to go in this football game.
See, Chris Sutton scored after 18 seconds at Ibrox in 2002.
My goodness.
So I need to get the stop. I think it was a bit after that. I'll need to have a wee look. Maeda was 20. Can I just be honest? I guessed that it was 20. I knew it was somewhere about that. So I'm glad I got it right. But it turns out Maeda was 20. Just another point. Like, there is no attempt whatsoever to clear James Tavernier of blame here, because he's undeniably culpable. But even in the lead up, Rangers didn't look too clever, did they? Who was it that hacked a ball into the middle of the pitch? Sterling,
and gave it away. I was just going to say, you think of the 2 goals Celtic have scored now at Ibrox this season. Route 1 from Joe Hart, the first one, Connor Goldson slating Kyogo volleys in, and that one is just Route 1 again. So we always think of Celtic being a possession team, but nothing wrong with going long sometimes.
First sore one of the game. I think it doesn't look like there's much wrong by Liam Scales. I mean, he's off the ground and he leaps, but almost to collect the ball rather than challenge Scott Wright, who he has taken a sore one though, Gordon.
Yeah, he looks in a bit of agony. I don't think there was anything malicious in the tackle. I think Scales every right to go and get it, and he won the tackle well. Unfortunately, Scott Wright just took a knock, but hopefully for Rangers he'll run that off, because you don't want to start making substitutions, losing a goal after 20 seconds and making a substitution after 10 minutes. So
it's a fast and furious start to this one. Cameron Carter-Vickers has knocked the ball away. On days like this, with 9 minutes gone, that usually is a talking to rather than a booking.
Well,
quite something though that Celtic centre back is up pressing Rangers left back. It's quite a...
Yeah, I think it's just a movement from Rangers, because Sterling goes higher up and Silva came really deep. Johnson had to go all the way with him, Carter-Vickers then taking Sterling. So, you know, the movement and rotation maybe a wee bit different from Rangers than we're used to seeing. Celtic being aggressive.
Silva's down, and Celtic are in no mood to put it out, which is interesting because they had a goal kick. There was a perfect chance to just delay it. He's taking a sore one. He looks in a lot of pain.
A lot of pain.
Fabio Silva.
Yeah.
Didn't even. Yeah, it's just, again, there's nothing in it. The ball ricochets off Liam Scales, and Scales lands on the top of his foot, but it looks like a sore one. He's running off now, right enough.
It's one of those, you just couple of minutes and you're fine. You're on that
a touch theatrical, I would have to say.
I counted 3 rolls.
Yeah.
But
not as bad as the Arsenal boy yesterday. Did you see him going down?
Come on.
Was
Ben White?
Ben White, was it?
Ludicrous. Just like, genuinely though, you wonder if at cheating, what point you can can you bring in a harsh punishment for that to really
just
try
to
and
kick it. Yeah.
It's that was not clever at all, was it?
Anyway, the wind going here, because the Rangers head that back and the wind picks up towards Joe Hart's goal.
I think it's swirling round actually, so it should make for an interesting afternoon. But we've got 11 minutes gone. It's not really calmed down yet, although that's a lovely flick by Daisen Maeda, but Iwata and Kyogo just not quite on the same wavelength. 11 minutes gone, Celtic 1 to the good as Kyogo presses Jack Butland and does get a touch in the ball, but it mostly clears the penalty area. Just thinking back to the goal as well, Mark, I know that every situation would be sort of dealt with in isolation, but you think the familiarity these opponents have with each other, the number of times, if you're James Tavernier, should you be almost assuming that Daisen Maeda is close to you? Because before the game kicks off, you just know that he's going to be on you like a rash.
Well, when was the game Maeda scored?
Yeah, it's very similar.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah, and Tavernier didn't quite tackle him, so you know what you're up against. How many times have they played against each other, Maeda and Tavernier? So of course you've got to be aware, especially in the early part of the game, where you could clearly see from kick-off, when Rangers worked all the way back to the goalkeeper, Celtic's front line just pressing them aggressively. So you know they're after you.
You've played in those areas, Mark. What is Tavernier
it's
thinking?
A lovely ball from Rio Hitati to Maeda. Squares it and can't get it to Kyogo.
What's Tavernier thinking? The goalkeeper there?
I think he thinks the ball's...
cannot be seriously thinking Tavernier. That's a great ball inside Tavernier there, and I think that's a decent ball.
The Rangers captain knows he's in a game this afternoon, doesn't he?
Yeah. Listen, it's very hard to defend against pace, and Maida's got plenty of that, and he's obviously full of confidence after scoring. So Tavernier just needs to settle down a little bit here.
Silva trying to go up the other end and tussle with Alistair Johnson. The ball was sort of bouncing up about waist height and it was going out for a goal kick. Nothing ever comes of note when that happens to Alistair Johnson in these fixtures, don't worry. There'll be no 5-week inquiry over that one, but I think it passed without incident.
I think the Rangers players are still trying to come to terms with what's happened. They have that shell-shocked look about them. The game changed in complexion after 20 seconds because...
I was going to say, they'll see when it's so early, ridiculously early. Not to quote this guy about it gives you more time to recover. I wonder if the game plan doesn't actually change though. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
I think we are feeling the tremor in here because, I mean, you were stunned by it. We were all stunned by it. So you can imagine what it's like inside Ibrox Stadium and for the Rangers players in particular. But I do take your point that clearly,
right, there's a blue piece of, I don't know, material that must have used in a display. Initially I thought it was a Rangers defender who was lying down injured, and then it got wrapped around Tate's boots as he was trying to run forward. So bit of the wind causing havoc, I think.
Causing havoc was some of the distribution from the Rangers backline. Shooter that time just trying to
straight out for a throw.
Straight out, trying a diagonal straight out for a throw. I think Celtic's press has been very good and take away the goal. I think they've been putting pressure on that Rangers backline high up the pitch, forcing them into mistakes, and yet again they've pinned them in back.
Yeah, it looks a bit nervy at the back for Rangers. The wind won't be helping it. The fact that they've already been undone won't be helping it. And I guess, Mark, we always talk about these games. Mentality is so important. Can Rangers... and now Connor Goldson's been caught as well, but I think the referee's given a free kick.
Got away with one there.
They're certainly pressing very high up the pitch, Celtic. They're going after Rangers, and the Rangers back line look a bit nervy, and there's a couple of balls put back to Butland that looks a bit nervy as well. So they've just got to look, there's still plenty of time this fixture. They've just got to settle down.
What I love about it, Hugh, from the neutral perspective, from the drama and entertainment, one of the kind of bugbears that some people have, and it's understandable, these two can play 6 and 7 times a season. You kind of think you've seen it all, and then that happens.
That's why I keep coming back to this expression about a separate life form. You do think you've seen it all, and then a ricochet from outside the penalty box that beats the goalkeeper. Nothing about the game so far makes any sense, other than James Tavernier will be thinking, I have got to atone, I have got to redeem myself in some way here.
100%. That's got to be still preying on his mind. 15 minutes in, I've been there before, I've made a few errors in these games, and trust me,
is it try your best if you start poorly?
Without doubt. James Tavernier's probably hoping that one of his other teammates are going to dig him out a hole just now, and then he can get back on track, because the last thing you want is this game to remain at 1-0 and you're the one that's made that mistake.
It is very stop-start, lots of free kicks being given just for niggly fouls, nothing too untoward. Even Nicholas Kuhn, who you wouldn't necessarily have down as someone who's going to throw his weight around, as
it's great that we can talk about the goal, because take the goal out of the equation here, I don't think either a goalkeeper, they've not had a save to make. Joe Hart's had nothing to do. It's just the usual frantic start to a game like this, and especially the importance of it.
I didn't realise, I'm just watching reruns of it, that try and phrase this carefully, because you can't blame Jack Butland because of how ludicrously it comes about and how quickly it comes at him, but it actually does end up quite through him. Yeah, it does. I thought initially it flew right into the corner, but it doesn't. It goes under him, but of course he's trying to adjust his feet. He's got no idea what's.
I think he's positioning himself for a pass back from Tavernier.
Nicholas Kuhn tries to come in on that left hand side, but I like that tactical insight from you as a former fullback.
I was Jim mentioned it, but I did agree.
Sterling being right-footed and
just makes it easier, and I played that position a lot. I knew what I preferred. If there was a winger coming inside, I could easily shut off on my dominant side. Bit harder when you take it down the line.
Then if you're a winger, you're going down the...
Yeah, but that's not Nicholas Kuhn's favoured option, though. That's the point.
I know that, but you've got to mix your game up if you're playing at a high level. You can't just keep going, well, listen, I come inside all the time, so I'm just got to do that.
I think he started changing that up a wee bit, Kuhn, but probably not as much as Brendan Rodgers would like.
His first few games, it was like as obvious as you could be every single time. It was just a guaranteed.
Again.
Dear me.
I mean, how long does Butland want there on the ball? He must know that Kyogo's pressing him quickly. He's almost in his goal line there.
I'm finding that very surprising. The Rangers backline don't know Kyogo, and Maeda will close you as quick as anything.
It was an interesting wrestling match from between Carter Vickers and Dessers, and we know Carter Vickers is strong, but fair play to Dessers. It looks like a relatively even one, and he almost nicked it. Mark, is that one where Carter Vickers has to, because we know he invites that, he almost likes it to get the contact, and then but almost taking too much of a risk with it that time.
Yeah, well, that's twice I've seen the opening 18 minutes. One was another high ball up, and Dessers held him off, and it ended up an awkward ball for Alistair Johnson to deal with that time as well. Dessers comes out on top, so There's a big physical player who looks like he's enjoying the challenge. Carl Vickers just needs to be careful he doesn't get rolled or too tight.
It's getting a bit tetchy already amongst the Rangers fans with every pass that goes astray, or if it's getting knocked around in what the fans consider a risky fashion at the back.
There you go.
I did say yesterday, and I don't take any pride in it, it's not a cheap dig. You're guaranteed a Dyson Maeda cross into the stand.
Who had 18 minutes on the clock.
And I'll tell you what, it is so consistent because he does brilliant, knocks it past Tavernier. You know Tavernier can't keep up with him, not many can. Just flashes that left foot at it, Mark, and it must be so frustrating.
Without doubt, and none more so than for probably Kyogo, who's in the middle there, you know, and he makes those wee movements. He just needs it fed across. But you're right, Maeda does brilliantly there, just to stand up, square up James Tavernier, and it's that touch is so hard to deal with. You're right when you said Tavernier knows he's in a game. You know, approaching 20 minutes and everything good that Celtic's done came down that side.
I think Nicholas Kuhn's going to be the first player in the book at some point here. But yeah, and there it is already. It's a strange way to go about it because he's had a number of niggles, and then once Sterling's got past him down the line, he's pulled his shirt, which in itself can sometimes be a booking for stopping a promising attack. It seems it's an unnecessary risk to take.
A futile waste of time. You know, and now he's left Brendan Rodgers with a quandary because he can't run the risk of another booking, and off he goes. So it was a stupid foul in a stupid place.
Yeah, he has to be careful. But I've got to say, 20 minutes on the clock, Brendan Rodgers will be the happier of the two managers the way Celtic will.
But again, Mark, is that where you talk about Nicholas Kuhn's young, new to this country, certainly new to this fixture? It is a pressure cooker that is full of Rangers fans. You know, is this where you need to be up for it, but you also need a bit of a cool head?
Of course, especially giving away a foul like that and picking up your first booting. There's a lot of ground there for Sterling to travel into after that, so it's a poor one from him. He just needs to be careful because you need everybody on the pitch in these games.
On that, we've been over the course and distance of the debate about tickets and so on. With it being so against Celtic, the atmosphere, if you like, Rangers look like the away team a bit, don't they? They look like the ones that are a bit spooked by all this.
They do. I think Celtic's been the more comfortable in possession. This is really the only time we've seen Rangers getting forward without pressure being on the ball, and it's a poor ball from Lundstrom. But Celtic looked the calmer, looked the more composed, had a couple of nice wee passages of playing out from the back and then through to their front men. Rangers struggling, you've got to say, in these opening 20 minutes.
The problem with no away fans.
Now, Scott Wright flew in on Kyogo, who dropped very deep. You know, we often Celtic fans complain about that, but I suppose when he shows some nice touches, it doesn't matter quite as much.
To go back to the point I was going to make, the problem with no away fans is that the Rangers supporters are heaping pressure on these players because they're saying, we didn't come here to watch this, we came here to watch a ritual destruction of Celtic, and you're telling us that you've conceded a daft goal and you can't pull it back. So the pressure will be heaped on those players from four stands, and it will be remorseless.
And that's where Gordon, I mean, obviously, like, this is no secret about how big goals can be and how important they are, and if Rangers get it, it's game on. If Celtic could really put the foot down and score again relatively soon, Ibrox will erupt in a not very good way from a Rangers perspective.
If Celtic score again, I think Rangers are in real trouble. If I was Rangers, I'd be looking to get into the wide areas a little bit more. You know, Tavernier's not been in those wide areas getting balls in the box. Sterling the other side, Silva's not really been on it, Wright's not been on it. I think they've got the quality so far for me, passing wise, hasn't been the greatest. It's an exciting game, we know it, because of the pace of it. I think Rangers need a wee bit more quality, but you're right, if Celtic get the next one.
Free kick, Rangers have tried to slide it down the line and it just about gets there, so it's going to be a corner. Fair play to, I think it was Fabio Silva managing to keep it alive. I think the wind meant that it didn't turn into the opportunity Rangers hoped it would, and a corner was probably the best he was going to get out of it.
I think Alistair Johnson does well there because it isn't his man.
Look at the wind.
And he manages just to cover the cross line in at the last minute to block it. So this has got to go, you'd imagine, right on top of Joe Hart, in swinging corner, wind going in the direction of the Celtic goalkeeper.
think of the number of goals yesterday's game was produced from corner kicks.
Yes, and swinging corners were a huge problem. And it's whipped right in. And somehow I was expecting that to end up in the net. It's over the top from Connor Goldson. That is a massive chance for Rangers.
Should score all day long. He will be so disappointed. It's a great ball in. He gets the run on Scales.
His shoulder.
The way it popped up.
Tell a lie, he gets a run on Carter Vickers.
He loses Carter Vickers.
I think he will be really disappointed with that. I think he should put that ball in the back of net.
One from the training ground. That one.
Joe Hart never looks commanding enough for me.
Do you have to let him off on these ones because, as you preempted, the way that came in with the wind, I just wonder if the keeper was ever going to manage to come away with something.
He's getting there. I think Carter Vickers has to do better actually, but Goldson starts all the way at the back of the 6-yard box and loops his run.
Bit better this from Rangers now. They've won it back and managed to release Silva, but he gives it away, and I know the Rangers fans will be groaning because they were in a very good position there, and it was poor from Fabio Silva.
I think Rangers have been guilty of that, in good possession, just cheap passes. You've got to take care of the ball a little bit. You're not asking them to do a difficult pass. Just play a nice pass in. I know the wind's up there. I know it's difficult for the players, but you've got to have a wee bit more quality.
Going to be a corner to sit. No, James Tavernier does do well on the recovery this time.
Great to get back there, because I thought Maeda had done him again.
Yeah, I was about to say that the Celtic need to try and get that battle underway a few more times here, because Maeda's got the beating of James Tavernier early on, and here he is, Dyson Maeda into the box. Good save, Jack Butland. A big chance. Celtic, Maeda might be disappointed he couldn't find a corner, but that was a big chance.
I think he's got to score again. I think it's on his right foot. He's opened up the goal. He needs to just feed it into that far corner. But again, how easy was that for Celtic to get in? Maeda just stand there and acres of space.
Rio Hatate and flashes one wide. This is some start to this game. Celtic are trying to go for it now.
Celtic on top, but getting back to Maeda's chance, I think the biggest problem for him is he's got too much time. When he has to think, he's not very good. But he takes a great touch. He set himself up brilliant. It's in the centre of the goal. But that's what he's like. He's got to be
tackling the ball into the net.
Basically, But I'll tell you another thing. Hatate, I don't think they can give him many opportunities for the injury box. That he'll punish him.
However, space opening up for Rangers. Well blocked by Liam Scales, who did get there eventually.
I've got to say a bit of Maeda chance. If you look at Tavernier again, he moves towards the ball, having no idea that Maeda's standing outside him. As a right back, you have got to see the danger or who the danger man is, and he's only got eyes for the ball, and it's an easy pass through, and Maeda should make it 2-0.
I think, like we said earlier, though, see when your opponent is as consistent in what he does as Dyson Maeda, is it less about seeing it and more than just more like assuming it? Do you know what I mean? You don't even need to spot it. Just assume that it's going to happen.
Of course.
He doesn't seem to be.
It's a poor header.
Poor header. Opening for Rangers, then edge of the box. But Hatate does well, draws a foul.
The final ball from Rangers has been disappointing. It really has. When they're selling good possession, it's been really disappointing. But we touched on it earlier. You said about if Rangers can get back in this game, but if Celtic score another one, and to be fair, they should have. Maeda should put that ball in the back of the net.
That's where football can be so unpredictable. That in a roundabout strange way can be the moment that goes against Celtic today. But it was their chance to really put the foot down. He's got to do a lot better, doesn't he?
I keep going back to it, Gordon. He's one of these guys, when he gets that time, there's a lot of players like that. You get the time, you get a split second to think what you're doing, you mess it up. Maeda's like that. I think he's just an instinct player that the minute something happens, he doesn't know, bang, ball in the back of the net. But he's got to do a lot better.
I think you can safely assume if it had fallen to Kyogo's feet, it would be a goal.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the way the Celtic fans will be feeling. It's that far corner mark was.
It was wide open.
It was begging to either roll it low or to shape it high. It was
just anything. Anything in that direction, and
none of it.
Think it goes in, but it's right up button, right in the centre. It's an easy save for the Rangers goalkeeper.
I've got to say, going forward, I think Rangers have offered nothing. 28, 29 minutes. A game's so important. You're at Ibrox, you've got the crowd behind you. I think Clement will be a real bit disappointed in the way that his team started this game.
Yeah, they're still getting caught at the back.
Keogh was pressing again. Jack Butland in front of the watching Gareth Southgate this afternoon.
Well, the addition is going reasonably well because he's had the save from Maeda.
He's looked a bit shakier than normal though, has he not, with the ball at his feet?
But again, that's the tremor that comes with conceding a goal after 20 seconds. It affected every player from the goalkeeper to the 10 outfield.
I've got big headphones on and I'm in Clydebank, and I can still hear Ibrox groaning as Connor Goldson launches a 70-80 yard ball straight through to Joe Hart. Andrew McLean and Jim Duffy can confirm that my prediction is accurate.
Straight balls are never going to do.
That's right. I mean, Celtic look composed, they're looking to build through. Rangers look void of ideas going forward. Too many of those long balls. I don't know what they're hoping for. Dessers to I don't know, knock something down for a Lawrence or a Silver to run it, but it's certainly not coming off at all.
You would need your two centre halves to really mess up with these straight balls. They're too good for that. They've got to. I think Rangers, every time I see them at Ibrox against other teams, they use the width of the pitch really, really well. They get their full backs high, but I've not seen anything like that.
Is that, I mean, to state the obvious, Celtic's a very different proposition. Dujon Sterling's not going to be high because of the type, and James Tavernier can't take a chance on Dyson Maeda, who's having a really good game. As the ball comes in, there's a header. It's a wonder save. Gareth Southgate will like that one. Matt O'Reilly, another big chance for Celtic. It looked goal bound, and Jack Butland tips it away.
Well, the match is just astonishing in the way it has swung in Celtic's favour, and the Maeda chance, Matt O'Reilly's header, the Hatate one that's gone past the post. The problem for Celtic, will they live to regret these misses?
He's just kept Rangers in the game.
Yeah, that's a good save, isn't it? Outstanding.
Terrific save. O'Reilly thinks he's scoring. Here's another.
Must be. That's another good stop. Jack Butland, more of a brave one than anything. It was Liam Scales. It was a short corner kick routine, and then second phase it came back out. It strangely looked like Fabio Silva ducked to allow the ball to get to Nicholas Kuhn, and when it came in, it fell for Liam Scales 5 yards out, but the goalkeeper smuggled it.
Good fortune there for Rangers to get away from that, away with that, because that fell for Scales, and he couldn't get his foot on it from 6 yards out. But big save from Butland. First and foremost, what we're checking for here? Got a handball. That's hit Goldson's elbow.
It's hit Connor Goldson in the elbow
from a long way away, and that.
I wonder what we're going to see here.
Well, got to be a penalty
here we
kick.
go. John Beaton at the centre of so much controversy because of his appointment. That's a penalty for me.
That's a penalty all day long.
The elbow is out. That would be my description of it. Like the forearm. You can imagine it, a bent elbow basically. The hand is kind of against his chest. Whether he's tried to tuck it, but we saw yesterday a lot of handballs being given. John Beaton's gone to the monitor, and you know what that often means.
I think I'm agreeing with the lads.
It's the fact the ball's came from a long way away as well. It's a cross coming in, it's missed Kyogo's head.
It's not a natural position.
And it's hit Goldson right in the elbow. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's
a penalty kick.
That's a penalty kick.
And it hits him right on the point of the elbow, the bit that's furthest away from his body. You'd be pretty surprised if this is not given, because it actually does. It stops Liam Scales. Penalty to Celtic. Celtic already 1 up in this one, and they're going to have the chance to double it from the penalty spot. We tend to talk about alleged Connor Goldson handballs in this fixture quite often. This one has been given.
Now, this is the pivotal moment in the match, because if Celtic extend their lead to 2 before half time, and it's Matt O'Reilly who's going to take it, I'm not sure, has O'Reilly ever taken a penalty for Celtic?
I was wondering about Rio, because Rio Hatate has taken some and he's missed some.
Well, this is the pivotal moment, because Celtic have had their chances. Dyson Maeda missed a sitter. O'Reilly was very unfortunate to have a goalkeeper as good as Butland keeping his header out. Hatate has gone close. You wondered if those misses would come back to haunt Celtic, but they have been handed the chance to go 2 up, and this is a gift horse.
I'm surprised.
They must not look in the mouth.
O'Reilly's stay. I don't think O'Reilly's been at the top of his game lately, and I'm very surprised he's taking this penalty kick.
He is the set piece taker though for everything else.
I'm surprised. You're right. He doesn't.
I would probably, somebody like Hattati for me would take this.
This is a surprise perhaps, but Matt O'Reilly with the chance. Jack Butland starts behind the line.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
How is your composure, Matt O'Reilly?
That's why he's on the penalties.
50,000 people inside Ibrox. He just strolls up and strokes it beyond Jack Butland, dinks it down the middle, in fact. And Celtic are 2-0 up and enjoying this.
That's as cool as you can get in Ibrox when everybody's hearts and nerves are going. Matt O'Reilly is the coolest man inside Ibrox. He dinks it down the middle, and Celtic firmly in the driving seat.
I will take that back. I've got to say something. And a game is important to go 2-0 up, to do that. I congratulate a player with the confidence of that.
This is obviously what separates elite athletes to dafties like me who do this, but I think you need to study people who are that calm. That freaks me out.
Well, we know he goes in for all that stuff. He trains his mind, etc, etc, etc. However, the bottom line here is that Celtic are 2 up and Rangers are getting off lightly.
Hugh, don't worry, I've got your back. 3-2 Rangers are coming in.
What a 24 minutes for Celtic though, Hugh, because not only have they got their 2 goals, okay, the first one's fortunate. You're right, they did deserve a second. Butland first makes a save, then I know that one fell to scales. You had Hattati, you had Maeda that could have added to it, but it's the performance within it as well.
Yeah,
their
really
control.
Good,
they've dominated this first 35 minutes. Rangers have offered nothing. You're at 35 minutes and you can't remember Joe Hart really having anything to do in this fixture.
And there's another chance as Kyogo sneaks in, and I wonder if it was it was Kyogo's final touch. There's another chance for Celtic. It came at him quickly. John Souttar, I think, maybe just does well to put him off.
That's an incredible cross.
There's a wonderful Glasgow phrase that sums this up. Ibrox will be going radio rental at the moment.
Connor Goldson's just lost it as well. Fires out from the back, but Rangers do win it back on this occasion, which may let him off the hook.
Yeah, they're struggling at the minute. Rangers devoid of confidence. Tavernier, you've got to say, started poorly and has got no better. Everything good from a Celtic point of view is coming down that side, and yet again that chance created down that side. Greg Taylor.
Matt O'Reilly, I think it was, nearly gave it away in a very, very dangerous area, but he gets a bit of good fortune, and Celtic do still have it.
I think the Rangers manager at this moment in time will be thinking, I need to change this.
He might need to. This is crazy, but he at the stage where you couldn't, but Dujon Sterling to go and have a go at Dyson Maeda, because it's that much of a mismatch at the moment.
You can just see Tavernier's all over the place now. He doesn't know whether to go tight, he doesn't know whether to give himself a couple of yards. Moments ago I said he went chasing the ball, and that's often a sign that your head's a wee bit all over the place when you start doing things that's unnatural to you.
I think he's got to change it. I think he's got to change something, because Rangers are offering absolutely nothing. Celtic are dominating. In fact, you wouldn't be surprised if the next goal Celtic get it and the game's finished.
Yeah, Fabio Silva went down there, but Johnson won the ball, and it was quite interesting because John Beaton and John Lundstrom. Hold on, I'll hold that, because Celtic are in again here, and it's spilled by Butland, but then he gets it at the second attempt.
He's got away with that again there at the front post. He should really pick it up, but good play from Celtic. Kuhn on the inside right just squares it across. Kyogo just in around the goalkeeper, but Butland manages to get it back in his arms.
James Tavernier is going to have nightmares about Dyson Maeda, because he's now tracked back and robbed it off the Rangers skipper as he goes forward. But Rangers do have it at the edge of the box.
Well, Rangers will be thinking they must get a goal before half time.
I can see it, Hugh. They've just fired the ball out the pitch again. Philippe Clement's doing the universal hand signal for let's get going. He's pointing to the temples as well for a bit of focus. It's very restless.
Anyone who's just turned on the radio, trust me, it's 2-0 Celtic, and it could easily be 4 or 5. And that's how dominant Celtic have been, how brave they have been on the ball, and they want to get in at the very least 2-0 up at half time. A goal conceded changes the complexion of the match.
What I was about to say, you talk about the type of character that you need in this fixture, particularly when you're facing adversity. John Lundstrom and John Beaton both telling Fabio Silva to stop rolling about, basically, to get up and get on with it.
Yeah, he was well taking him off. He clearly doesn't like this.
Well, you know what? They can't even get the ball to him, Hugh, where he's going to be most effective.
Lovely from Celtic. A really nice passage of play, but well cut out, John Suter.
Rangers look like they've been caught up in the importance of this.
He's lying
Silva
around
down
again.
and but maybe he has been caught this time, but he's very theatrical.
Anyone who behaves like that.
Oh, wow.
Well, we don't know
We've
what's
not seen
happened
the contact.
here, so.
It's one of those where he tries to make a run and Alistair Johnston blocks him, but you can see John Beaton almost looking at Silva as if to say, okay, but is this reaction wholly necessary? He just tries to run. Johnson checks his run mark, but you see that umpteen times a game.
Yeah. It's just what a fullback does. It's there he is. He's up.
Yeah. Look,
the way he's gone about his business here in the first half.
I'm with the boys. I hate seeing that.
Johnson's getting booked for it.
Yeah, Alistair Johnson goes into the book.
But the theatrics tell me that he's no use to you in this fixture. He's whether he thinks he's playing to the crowd by doing all of this, but he's done nothing in the game except behaved like a spoiled child.
To be fair,
Celtic just need to make sure they don't do anything daft, though, because the two players who are on a booking, Nicholas Kuhn and Alistair Johnson down that side, have both just had another nibble, within seconds of each other, so they might need to just
you don't want
calm
to,
it, Mark.
especially when you're dominating the game. Sorry, Mark, but you don't want to get down to 10 men. But you're saying about Silva's not done anything game, and I agree with you, but if you're Rangers, who has?
Even Tavernier on the ball just now. He's getting away, he's having a nightmare. But
and Keel goes in, Keel goes through, edge of the box, but Goldson comes across and blocks it. Celtic are all over Rangers here, who look, and there are actual boos now. The restlessness has come to booing from the Rangers fans.
Well, that's all you need to know.
They look shell-shocked, Rangers, and the lack of options when they're on the ball, the poor passing on the ball.
Could Kyogo do better there and actually put this to bed?
He's got to. You think where Kyogo scored his goal early on in the season, Ibrox, it was like that, and he had it first time. He just took an extra touch, which allowed Goldson to get across.
He also has Maeda to his left if he feels the need to check back.
I was just going to say that, Gordon. I think he can just hold that up a little bit if he doesn't fancy a shot, and Maeda's in.
I bet he saw Maeda's previous finish from the corner of the box.
Don't give him something to think about.
Well, there's going to be another booking now, Matt O'Reilly. So it's 3 bookings to Celtic.
Well, 3 problems then, because in this fixture you never know the moment. Matt O'Reilly left something on him, as they say. But I go back to the basic problem here for Celtic. They have to get into that tunnel at half time, not having conceded a goal.
Nice problem to have, though.
Yeah. But there's plenty of time left in this first half. We could still have another 10 minutes to play.
And that's what we always say. The most relevant cliche in the game, Gordon, is that goals change games, because it would almost be robbery if Rangers took this in at 2-1, and you know that in a strange way can deflate Celtic, but they're going to need to come up with something in the last few minutes of the half.
The most they've come up with is a set play, a corner kick. That's where
they've got one here. James Tavernier's going to in-swing one from the near side.
Goldson should have probably scored the last time, so they'll be asking. Suter doesn't look good.
It's a real sore one for John Suter. He's got blood all over his face and down his shirt, so he'll have to go and get that seen to.
Where's the state the obvious from? I can't remember a clash of heads or anything really, coming together with anybody there, but we certainly need to get it sorted.
And he's one that's a threat in the box as well to go and attack it.
Didn't he? He scored was it last year he scored?
James Tavernier, do you know what? It's so whipped that it almost catches Joe Hart out under the bar.
I think he tries to score there.
Yeah.
I think a player like Tavernier with his ability,
didn't we?
Yeah, he's every right to take that on. By the way, that's creeping in. But this might be Rangers' best opportunity, set piece, because when you're playing so poorly and you can't put anything together.
You've just seen the John Suter one. It was just a high ball into the Celtic box, and he jumped, I think maybe with Matt O'Reilly, gets a sore one. Corner Rangers, it's another good ball, but it's headed clear. Rangers' set piece delivery has actually been good, just not really quite managed to get anyone in the end of it. Tavernier fires one out for a goal kick, and again Ibrox grumbles.
I've got to say, I think Celtic have defended well in the first 43 minutes of this game. I really do. I think they look really solid, the two centre backs, and we always say it, Carter Vickers in there makes such a difference.
You just need to be careful now. Rangers, they're a man down at Suter, so you'd imagine Lundstrom would maybe just, go into the back line just now, leaves an extra man in midfield.
There's another short one that Kyogo tries to get on, and Jack Butland has to come and clear. And in isolation, that one maybe wasn't as bad, but when it's happening time and time again, you can see why the Rangers fans are not enjoying any of this.
Well, there's an element of self-harm about it all, and fans hate that. But you can't take away from Celtic and the composure that they have shown. But the clock is ticking down, but they need to continue to defend well to see if they can get in 2 up at half time.
I will be amazed if the 11 that leave this park, Rangers, are the same 11 that come on at the second half.
Forget Scott Wright's playing. He's just touched the ball there.
To be fair to Scott Wright, Mark, I don't think he's had the service. You look at Dessers, you forget he's playing. Silva's offered nothing. Lundstrom, the mid-left part, where everybody's speaking about how well he's playing.
That is awful from Diamandi. Really simple pass.
Fantastic pass.
And now Kyogo is up the other end. He's got 4 Rangers players for company though. He slides one into Hatate, who lines it up from outside the box, but I think it takes a nick, or he slipped just as he hit it, and it goes out for, I think, a goal kick. But so poor from Rangers in possession.
The booing at half time will be heard in parts of England.
Yeah, they've offered nothing, but all credit must go to Celtic. I think Celtic have been excellent. Conditions aren't great. The boys will tell us they're there at Ibrox. They realise how strong this wind is, but take nothing away, some of Celtic's play has been excellent today.
Only 2 minutes added on.
Yeah, there's not been much. I don't know if if John Suter is back on yet. I don't think he is. I don't know if he'll make it before half time. They might just give him that break, so it was quite a lot of blood to get patched up.
What an interception that was from Carter Vickers.
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a decent ball through, and I thought Dessers was going to get in the end of it.
You just see there Matt Riley scrapping a bit, and he knows he had to go into the second one a bit tentative because he's on that yellow card.
He has a chance now.
Yeah, Rangers' first chance, really, and it's a good save, Joe Hart, however. And it's a double save, I think, from Joe Hart, or was it blocked? Fabio Silva in the box. That would have been an unbelievable finish to the half, because Rangers have not looked in it, and that was a big opportunity.
It certainly was. Rangers' first bit of quality from them played through the Celtic back line.
Scott Wright with the pass.
And was it Silva with the final effort? But that's a big save from Joe Hart. Saves it with his knee, I think, maybe just goes down on one knee and saves it. Double save. A big moment there. Right at half time, that would have gave Rangers something to cling on to.
High quality stuff from Rio Hatate, just under pressure, twisting and turning, and very difficult to get near.
Just shows you how important he was. He's been first class in this first 45 minutes. Composed, calm, can play those passes that many others can't. He really has been a standout.
I thought he made such a difference at Livingston as well. I thought the Celtic looked a lot sharper when he's in the middle of the park. But that was a great opportunity for Rangers to salvage something out of probably a disappointing first 46-47 minutes.
Forgive me, Suter was back on quite quickly. I just hadn't noticed, so my
it's
apologies.
That kind of day. Celtic running down the clock now. 10 seconds left of this half, and an astonishing half it has been. Yeah,
as Rangers give it away again, and we're about to reach the half time, but it's a minimum of 2 minutes, so they might have a chance here. I think that touch from James Tavernier will end at half time at Ibrox.
Rangers 0, Celtic 2, the half-time score, and boos ringing around Ibrox when that whistle was blown. The supporters not happy with what they're seeing. Celtic opening the scoring within seconds of this game, and they haven't looked back since. Ibrox was deafening right as the game kicked off, but within 21 seconds, stunned silence. James Tavernier took a while to deal with Joe Hart's long ball. He was running back towards his own goal, eventually made the move to try and clear it, but there was Daisen Maeda pressing at full speed, blocking it, and the ricochet rocketed low hard past Jack Butland for 1-0. Nobody in the stadium could quite believe it, and an incredible start to the match. The game couldn't flow after that. Rangers looking nervous at the back. The wind was causing havoc. A lot of fouls breaking up play as well. There were no real sights of goal for a while until Connor Goldson got free at a corner. Probably should have done it better, but headed that one over the bar. Daisen Maeda then with a big chance at the other end, opened up for him in the box on his right foot, forced a save out of Jack Butland, but he also should have done better with his chance. A few moments later, Rio Hatate firing just wide of the Rangers goal, and Jack Butland having to pull off an incredible save. Matt O'Reilly pretty much did everything right with his header. It was flying towards the top corner, but Jack Butland high to his left, tipping that one over the bar. From the resulting corner, the ball hit Connor Goldson on the arm, not spotted initially by referee John Beaton, but he was sent to the monitor by VAR Nick Walsh, and then he pointed to the spot. I'm not sure many would have predicted that it would be Matt O'Reilly to step up and take, but as easy as you like, strolling up, no pressure at all for him, dinking it down the middle and doubling Celtic's lead. After that, Kyogo with a few half openings, Joe Hart right to the death, having to make a save from Fabio Silva. But Celtic have been comfortable in this game, and at times Rangers have been all over the place. Something needs to change for them in the second 45, but Brendan Rodgers will be absolutely delighted. The half-time score, Rangers 0, Celtic 2, and Jim Duffy, you could tell exactly what type of game it was just from the reaction at half-time from the Rangers supporters.
Well, Hugh said in the studio there that Rangers have got off lightly. It's been such a one-sided match here at Ibrox. Celtic have totally dominated it. They've controlled the game, they've created chances, they've been pressing Rangers. Everything that you would have expected Rangers to do, Celtic have done, and done it excellently. And the only thing that might disappoint Brendan Rodgers a little bit is it's only 2-0, because it should have been, could have and should have been 3 or 4. But other than that chance right at the very last second, just before half time, where Joe Hart pulled off a really good save from Fabio Silva, Rangers have offered nothing. There's not a Rangers player playing well. Not one single player is playing anywhere near the form, and there's a few of them having an absolute nightmare. Whereas Celtic have been thriving on the occasion. They've responded to the fact that none of their fans are here, and they put the pressure on Rangers by scoring that early goal, and literally the atmosphere went from one extreme to the next. It completely flipped to the Rangers players not being able to handle the expectations of their fans. That's the bottom line. Hugh spoke about Bottle and stuff like that. Well, a few of the Rangers players, Fabio Silva, we've seen him rolling about. The Rangers fans behind us are actually giving their own players stick because they want to show a bit more fight, a bit more resilience. But in saying that, they need a bit more quality. I'll be amazed if Philip Clement doesn't make 2 or 3 substitutions at half time.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say there, the 2 players that were straight out there, Jim, at the half time whistle, Abdallah Sima and Leon Balogun, the 2 of them out doing a warm up with a coach at the moment, so you'd expect that those 2 will be coming on. Yeah, I just think he's got to change it. He's got to change, because at this moment in time, Celtic are streets ahead. The first 45 minutes, Brendan Rodgers were thrilled. Celtic were brilliant, absolutely superb from the first second to the last second, and Rangers have to turn things around here if they've got any chance of getting something from this game. As far as Brendan Rodgers is concerned, the only concern will be, he said 3 players booked, and in these type of fixtures we know one little late challenge, we say the win can hold things up, whatever. Celtic's players got to concentrate and don't do anything daft. Because if they get a man sent off, then that could obviously give Rangers a bit of impetus. But take nothing away from Celtic. They've been absolutely outstanding in the first half and thoroughly deserved that 2-0 advantage at half time. Yeah, Celtic started quickly and they are in full control at Ibrox. The half-time score, Rangers 0, Celtic 2.
And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They have Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that is right for you. Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell and Darnley, and Jaguar, Volvo and Land Rover showrooms found in Hillington. Right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today, or even pop into the showroom local to you. Now back to the podcast.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
What a first half of football it has been at Ibrox, in a good way if you're a Celtic fan, and in a terrible way if you're a Rangers fan. Celtic ahead inside 20 seconds, doubling their advantage from the penalty spot, and it's 2-0 at half time. Let's go back there and check in with Andrew McLean and Jim Duffy. Andrew, your initial feelings or indications about substitutions that are going to be made, is that still looking the case?
Yeah, well, just right when the half-time whistle Blue, the two players that were straight out onto the pitch with a coach were Abdallah Sima and Leon Balogun. They're now back down the tunnel again. You'd assume that they are now getting changed and ready to come on. You'd expect, Jim, that Leon Balogun will be coming on for John Souttar. Took a pretty nasty head knock. Took quite a while for them to sort it. Did eventually come back on, but there's maybe a number of players that could come off that Philip Clement has to choose from, because there's not been many, any good performances from Rangers so far.
Well, there's been none, absolutely none. There's not a player in the Rangers team that can go in there at half time, look themselves in the mirror and say they've done themselves and their team justice. The only one I feel a bit sorry for is Dessers, because he's had no service. He's trying to shuttle between the two Celtic centre backs and the goalkeeper, and he keeps turning around as if to say, where's the press? So to me, Philip Clement's got to change it tactically as well as the personnel. He's got to get someone higher up the pitch and take more of a risk at the back and almost go 1-for-1 at the back. Celtic are doing it. You see, when the ball's back at the Jack Butland, then Hatate detaches himself from Diamondi. He goes up alongside Kyogo and Maeda, and Kuhn then say, right, if you want to go and play it, we'll go and press on the next ones. But Rangers to me are just sitting all the way back off Celtic and allowing Celtic to dictate the play. So yeah, substitutions absolutely paramount for Rangers, whether it's Sima for Silva or Scott Wright. But certainly for me, tactically as well, he has to change it, because they're just not at the races.
See, on that, Jim, is there any chance that John Souttar's fine and Leon Balogun comes on as a third centre back and Rangers do something different?
Yeah, I mean they could, but obviously Celtic having the one striker, you're then up 3 against Kyogo, but it does give them maybe 2 forwards then, if you want to call it that. They could put Silva up front alongside Dessers and give them that. So there is that option. There's no doubt about that. They could change the system, but I think that would be unlikely. Gordon, we'll see in a few minutes, because Philip Clement, I know he has done it on occasion, but in this particular case, to me, he's got so many. When you're a manager, you normally get in and say there's a department that's not working quite right, so you maybe tweak it a little bit. In this particular occasion, I mean, the guys in the studio, yourself watching it, every single department at Rangers is playing way below any kind of level that they can normally play at. Their defence has been a shambles. Their midfield's been non-existent, giving the ball away, allowing Celtic to control the game. And up front, they've been powder puff. So, they need every single aspect. The manager can only do so much at half-time, but the players then have to take a bit of responsibility. Celtic have risen to the occasion, and Rangers have crumbled under the weight of expectation. There's no question about that in the first half.
Andrew, talk us through the atmosphere. How are the Rangers fans taking this?
Yeah, well, there were those boos at half-time just when the whistle went. They didn't last for too long, but it just has been pure frustration from the supporters in here. And, that stunned silence when that first goal went in. I'm not sure anyone in the stadium could quite believe what had happened. And then there was a bit of unrest. Some of the supporters tried to rally around the team to get them to make a quick impact and get back into the game, but it really hasn't happened. And as the game has gone on, there's just been so much frustration building, whether it's those loose passes, there's been plenty of them in midfield, whether it's been passing the ball around the back as well, whenever the ball has been at the feet of James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, the ball going back to Jack Butland as well. You can just sense the tension of the Rangers supporters in here, and the Rangers players are going to need to do something about that. They're going to need to come out at the start of this second half and show these supporters that it's not going to be like that opening 45 minutes, because if the team have that same mentality on the pitch and they're playing the same way, then the crowd are just going to turn even more against them.
And yet, Jim Duffy, you just never know. It's a funny old game. In the last meeting between these sides, Celtic were 2 up until the 88th minute, and Rangers were down to 10 men, and then Rangers scored, and all of a sudden it became very nervy for Celtic, who were hanging on. I'll just use any excuse to bring it up. Motherwell were 2-0 down with however many minutes, 17 minutes to go yesterday. You just never know. Sometimes, whether it's a set piece or whatever it is, if Rangers can get the next one, it does change completely.
Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. It gives you belief, it gives the fans belief, it changes the atmosphere, it gives the players that calmness to go and express themselves. But they have to still produce that, and at the same time you're up against opponents who will pick you off if you over risk it. But Rangers have to take big chances now. But particularly starting, I said at the very start of the game, I thought Rangers would really press Celtic really high. Yeah, the goal in 20 seconds, of course, knocks you stuffing at them a little bit. But right throughout the first 45 minutes, Cara Vickers and Liam Scales pretty much strolled through the game when they had possession of the ball with Joe Hart. You seen when the ball came back to Jack Butland how many times Kyogo almost got to it or put him under pressure. There's no Rangers players doing that with Joe Hart. So, they have to squeeze the game up. I don't know, the wind's a bit swirly, they maybe have a little bit of an advantage in the second half, but they have to get up another 20 yards. Their front players up, their midfield players up, and their back players have to take a little bit more of a risk of going 1-on-1 at the risk of leaving that space for Kyogo to exploit. But Celtic have controlled every aspect of this game, Gordon. They've been magnificent from the first whistle, as I said, to the 45th, 47th minute. And Rangers have got massive decisions, Philip Clement at half time, as I said, to try and turn this game around. They need their supporters behind them, Rangers, but if they don't start well in the first 5 or 10 minutes, then Celtic will absolutely coast for the rest of the game.
I think we sometimes make too much of this and we go early, but I wonder on this occasion, with everything that goes into it, do the 3 Celtic players who are on yellow cards have to tread particularly carefully? Is that something that needs to come into Brendan Rodgers' mind?
Yeah, of course. I mean, he does have options, obviously, on the bench. He's quite a strong bench, Celtic. You've got, we mentioned, you've got Callum McGregor, you've also got James Forrest, the likes of that. You've got Yang, in the wide areas for Kuhn, Alistair Johnson, you've got Anthony Nelson. I mean, they can change it, but you've got to put a wee bit of responsibility in the players. But listen, you can be a fraction out these days and put a yellow card. Somebody can knock it past you and you can just try and block them off or whatever. So they've got to be ultra careful. For me, that's the only real concern Celtic would have coming out this second half, is that they could go down to 10 men, 3 players booked. But in saying that, I think a lot of the Rangers fans here would have liked 1 or 2 of their players to put in challenges, because they've stood off Celtic and let Celtic absolutely dominate the match.
Any sign, Andrew McLean?
Yeah, well, the team's just making their way out the tunnel at the moment. Can tell you that John Souttar is one of the first Rangers players out the tunnel at the moment, just looking to see what players do come out, because the 4th officials board is just about to be raised. John Beaton with the ball in his hands, so Rangers will be making changes, and Abdallah Sima is the first of the substitutes to emerge from the tunnel in his full kit, and it's Scott Wright that is the man making way. So that is the only change that Rangers are making. So Leon Balogun was out training, but he will remain on the bench at the moment. That was maybe just precautionary, waiting to see how that head knock was for John Souttar and how he would come through. But that change has been made. Scott Wright has come off, Abdallah Sima is on, he'll operate down the right, and we are back underway at Ibrox.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. From apprenticeships to pharmacy managers, start your career with them today.
What do you make of the half-time change, Gordon Dalziel?
Not surprised. The only thing I'm surprised at, I agree with Jim Duffy at Ibrox. I thought he'd have made maybe more than one. Scott Wright, apart from the pass through for Silva's effort just near the half-time whistle, Gordon, that's about all he's contributed. But not just picking Scott Wright, because I do agree Rangers as a team have been dreadful this afternoon, but all credit must go to Celtic. They've been excellent.
He could have really taken anyone off. That is the thing, and a couple of them. Scott Wright, maybe hard done by, because he's never had any service. So Rangers need to fix the problem getting the ball to him.
Yeah, I was going to say, is the challenge though for players like Scott Wright, you almost need to make it happen. Like, you can forgive Dessers for the lack of service, maybe.
Yeah, and he had that nice wee pass through for Silva's chance, one of the only real openings. So Rangers midfield has been the real struggle. Diamonde, Lundstrom, Lawrence, non-existent, and when they have had the ball they've been poor. So that's really where Rangers have went under in this tie. We said before that Callum McGregor usually plays a huge part in controlling the middle of the pitch. Well, he's not there today, but Hatate and O'Reilly and Iwata's been kind of quieter, but they've certainly took the game by the scruff of the neck, those Celtic 3.
I'll be honest with you, I think Iwata's been excellent. I think he's just sat there, he's controlled it. You look at Tom Lawrence, big player for Rangers, not had a kick of the ball. He's doing everything simple. I think he's played a very good part in the Celtic team.
Hugh, we've all watched hundreds, thousands of football matches, and they can turn on moments. How vital, it's a really obvious question, is the opening stages of this second half from a Rangers perspective? Well, from both, but if Rangers have any hope.
Yeah,
corner Celtic.
You've got to think that Rangers need to score relatively early in the second half, but we paid tribute to Celtic's composure first half, and they've started the second half in the same fashion, that they seem supremely confident, and a third goal would not only be unbelievable, but it would be the finish of the contest.
A third goal will empty Ibrox.
Yeah,
let me tell you that right now.
It might liven up the phone lines. Rio Hitati's going to strike one from outside the box. Well held, Jack Butland.
The Rangers have been done with that corner twice, where Kuhn and O'Reilly go out and they allow them just to play it short and overlap, and they worked it well to the edge of the box there. So Rangers slow to react again, and it's been a positive start again from Celtic.
Can't even take a throw in properly.
I just think that everything's rushed with Rangers. There's no composure at all.
That's the risk, though, isn't it? Because you're trying to rush. You're trying to show that you're on the front foot.
Yeah.
But you could almost see it happening there. John Lundstram just too keen. He gets a throw in. Fans don't like it when this happens. He takes it about 15 yards further up than where it should be, but it's also rushed that it just throws it straight to a Celtic player.
Yeah, and what that does is it turns the crowd against you right away. The crowd get anxious as well. Look, I know they're in trouble, Rangers, because they're 2-0 down against a very good Celtic side, but there's still a lot of football. And you said Nick's goal could turn it, but not playing football like that.
What's that balance like as a professional, Mark? Because you obviously want to get at it and you want to set a tone, but genuinely, if Rangers pulled one back in the 70th minute, there would still be time.
Yeah,
but how do you get that in your head that it doesn't need to be 100 mile an hour, but it kind of does to some people?
I think with the performance in the first half, it certainly needed to be lifted, but you need to be controlled about it as well. And Rangers just not got the quality at all today, even at the start of the second half. They look poor on the ball.
However, into the box, touch takes it out of the box again from Silva. It was a great tracking back from Daisen Maeda. He thought that the throw-in should have gone his way, and went Rangers' way.
Correct.
Yeah, might not hear the end of that one if this ends up in a Rangers chance or a Rangers goal, but Johnson stands up well on two occasions to Fabio Silva.
Johnson's done well. He's had his critics this season, but he's done very well.
The back four for Celtic's been excellent here.
Silva down again.
Yeah, he's thrown himself about. He's trying to get a penalty kick out of that one, but he's been a liability the whole day. I'm surprised that he made it to the second half.
Strong challenge there.
Yeah, we need to see that one back. Is it Carter Vickers has gone over? He doesn't tend to go down.
He's holding his ankle anyway. Looked a bit late. I don't know who it was. Was it Lundstram? Was it in him?
Just get another look at it. No, it doesn't.
No, it comes back to him here. It comes back to him.
The replay didn't really
show you, but he's okay. He's up and he's a big part of Celtic's back four today, and he's been excellent. I've got to say.
Celtic didn't get the free kick for that. It's a throw-in to Celtic.
Well, it's Celtic's game to lose. And
it's a wonderful turn, but well recovered from Rangers. And it's a little bit pinball here, and it might fall Rangers' way. And you can see the wind is causing havoc. It really is. Something appeared at the studio window a minute ago, and it really distracted me. But I don't know what it was that blew past. And Ibrox is suffering the same. Yes, it's largely enclosed, but with those corners, the wind gets in, it swirls round, and it can make for a difficult afternoon. But here comes Dujon Sterling. He's got a bit of space. He's found Silva. We know Silva's good in these. And that might be no.
It's a dive.
He's booked him for diving. Fabio Silva.
Well, that was coming.
Well, do you know what though? It was the. I don't think it's the worst dive he's had this afternoon. If that makes any sense, we'll get a chance to see it back.
Dive.
Yeah. I think Johnson runs the risk because he gets done, with the movement of the ball. Johnson makes an attempt and he doesn't get there.
Does he touch him there?
I don't know if he touches Silva. No, Silva's in Johnson's ear.
What I would say is John Beaton is fed up of Fabio Silva, so I think that's played a part, but I'm not sure this is as much of a dive as...
He touches the ball though, doesn't he? Alistair Johnson gets a touch in the ball first.
I'm not sure it's a booking for diving anyway.
No, it's Johnson, not, because he catches him on the knee.
On the knee.
There's definitely contact there. I think just the reputation of Silva this afternoon went before.
That's played a part because John Beaton's fed up of him. You saw it earlier on.
Yeah.
But I had that feeling straight away. That was not as much of a dive as some of the others have been.
Well, what is going on here? Joe Hart's got the ball in his hand.
So just going to wait and see.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't get me wrong, I think he's playing for it, but to be fair to Silva, Johnson does catch him.
Yeah,
there's no doubt Johnson catches him.
The argument, or what John Beaton will have to look, he's gone to the screen.
Yep,
there Johnson touches the ball.
So this looks like it's going to be a penalty to Rangers, and what a big moment this could be, because 2-1 with 40 odd minutes left, clearly back in this game.
Does he then have to send Alistair Johnson off?
Has Johnson not got a touch in the ball there?
But we know now that's if you skiff the ball, it doesn't necessarily mean it's enough to negate a foul.
I'm going to be surprised. I'll be surprised if it's not given.
Well, it's over at the monitor, so that tells you all you need to know.
I just feel that he gets some with his right foot there,
extremely high on the right knee.
Oh yeah,
he catches him.
Yeah, I think if you're Celtic as well, you'd be complaining for that. So I think that's a penalty kick. I've got to say, I think that's a penalty kick. I think the referee will get this right.
Yeah,
it's definitely. I'd be amazed if John Beaton stands by his original decision.
That contact there before he catches Silver, that he diverts the ball for a corner kick.
He's high, he's on his knee.
There, touches the ball there. So, but then he does contact him on the knee.
And John Beaton taking his time.
It's a penalty kick.
He's still in conversation. He's putting the whistle to his mouth, makes the signal, and it is penalty to Rangers. What a big moment this is, Hugh.
Yeah, and so early in the second half, this changes everything. Tavernier takes and scores.
He's
and
going to be sent off, is he?
I think that's the yellow.
Well, what's happening now?
Yeah, is Alistair Johnson going to be sent off? It's not an automatic yellow now. Connor Goldson and James Tavernier are making the point, but remember, when football got rid of that double jeopardy rule, everything got scaled back. So what used to be a booking in the box is now nothing. If that makes sense.
A penalty
yes.
Yes.
So that, on the face of it, that does look like the right decision from John Beaton. Of course, if the tackle in the box is reckless or particularly dangerous, then it could be a yellow.
Remember Tavernier missed one last week?
Yeah.
This is a big bit, and he's not had the greatest game, but listen, he can bring his team right back into this game. What an opportunity.
This is the chance for atonement for the start that Rangers made to the match.
Will they dink it?
No. He'll aim for the top corner, I suspect. James Tavernier steps up. He's had a miserable day, but what a chance for him to get Rangers back into this game, and he steps up.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Smashes it high into the top corner. No doubt about the finish from James Tavernier, and it's Rangers 1, Celtic 2. Game on.
Absolutely. Complexion of the game has just changed, and Rangers have half an hour and more in which to retrieve the situation. So 3-2 still on.
You can stick two goalkeepers in there, you ain't saving that.
Yeah. I told you it would go top corner. Weirdly,
beautiful.
The way everybody else would think differently, but sometimes when he needs one, when he's under pressure, he goes top corner. It's such a sort of backwards logic, but there we go.
Yeah, great penalty from Tavernier, because you're right, he has had a miserable afternoon. He's not done much right, but gives his team a lifeline, and it seemed like it was always going to be either a set piece or something like that was going to get Rangers back in this if they had any chance, because their play overall has been poor. But if they get a chance, I wonder how Celtic react.
Complete shift in the atmosphere now. Ibrox knows that it has to get behind Rangers to give them that extra impetus to get back into this game.
They needed something. They certainly needed something, and you've got to look at it. And I'm sure if Celtic fans will be thinking, it's a penalty kick. Let's be honest about it. The same as the Celtic one was a penalty kick, and it gives out Rangers just that little bit now.
Here come Rangers. They've got bodies forward. Fabio Silva striding. He slipped it to Sima, but it's blocked, and then it comes back across, and it's into the back of the net.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
What a turnaround at Ibrox. Cyril Dessers raises the corner flag in celebration 10 minutes into the second half, and we are level.
The game has changed completely. The roof has caved in on Celtic. Ibrox knows that a win is very much on the cards.
They're going to look at a foul in the middle of the park, though, on Tomoki Iwata in the lead up to the goal.
That's a foul all day long. I thought at the time
the Celtic man's writing for him now.
What did you think of it, though?
I think it would touch and go, to be honest. But take nothing away, Rangers were right at them. Silva going through the middle there. Celtic were all over the place. We congratulated them in their first half of their defensive play, and Dessers just fires the ball into the back of it. It'll be interesting to see if this foul's given.
Well, it is a foul.
Do you think so?
Yeah. I don't. I don't know.
It's got to be. It's got to be a foul. Yeah.
John Beaton's over at the monitor, so this might not stand. He's going to have a look at an alleged foul on Tomoki Iwata, who he wins the ball, and Tom Lawrence catches him. I don't think this goal's going to stand.
I think when you see Iwata's reaction right after it, I thought at the time, wow, that's not like him. He was amazed at the time it wasn't given. It's without doubt a foul.
I watching in real play, I'm a bit doubtful, but I've got to say it'll be the right decision. It's a foul. It's a foul all day long. No,
he's giving the goal. John Beaton's. No, hold on. No, hold on.
Foul?
Yeah. Oh, I wish they would be clearer. I must say.
You can't be any clearer than that. He's telling them that they're taking a free kick.
No goal to Rangers. No goal. Rangers 1, Celtic 2. What an afternoon this is.
Well, John Beaton, I thought, was unfairly placed in the middle of the park here, given that he was called an incompetent by Brendan Rodgers a month ago. But he has surely passed every test here.
Yeah. He's got 3 big calls right, I think you have to say.
He's done the right thing all the way down the line. So, but I think the warning signs are there that Rangers' tails are up and Celtic, for the first time in the game, are wobbling.
Do you think when the open line comes on, everybody will agree with that? He's had every call right.
No, of course they won't. But then
I totally agree.
You have to be. We have to try and be, objective about these things.
He said every call right. I agree with you. I think he's been bang on the money today. I don't think you can blame the referee
because to describe Iwata gets the ball and then Lawrence kicks him in the knee. So it was hard to see any other outcome.
It's like
same as the penalty that the Rangers just got.
Exactly. But I think the important issue, moving away from John Beaton, because you can't go on and on about a man who's getting things right. The important thing is, for the first time in the match, Celtic look bang up against it, and Rangers look to be the side who could score every time they go forward.
Ooh, that's a heavy one from Lundstrom on Greg Taylor, but I don't think anything doing.
All credit to Taylor, he just gets up and gets on with it, didn't complain. But Rangers really it's amazing how goals just change games. Rangers right on the front foot now. Celtic's getting deeper and deeper.
Silva's had a good start, for all he's rolling about in the first half. It must have been frustrating for the Rangers fans. He looks dangerous. He even does well for the goal. It's been disallowed. He does well to drive at the heart of that Celtic defence.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's been very stop-start, which plays a part. But I mean, Mark, we're 15 minutes into the second half and Celtic have not got going.
No, never troubled the Rangers backline. But Rangers certainly with their tails up now. And here comes Sima again.
Yeah, Sima down the right. He's just going to float one. Too floaty and out for a.
No, he's got it.
Yeah, Dessers keeps it in at the far side.
Now all of a sudden Celtic are the ones who look tentative, hesitant, and the game is simply turned on its head. And with at least half an hour to go, Rangers could still win this match.
They're a bit of sharpness to Rangers now.
Yeah,
obviously with that goal and thinking they get back in it at 2-2. That could be such a big call, because 2-2. And the way Rangers and Ibrox would have been, Celtic could have been under a lot of pressure.
But we said it, referencing that last game at Celtic Park with the full home fans. 88 minutes was gone when James Tavernier pulled one back, and Rangers were down to 10 men, and that still rattled Celtic. That's what goals can do in any game of football, Mark.
Yeah, without doubt, it can just change it.
And there you are now sitting there. Yeah. Celtic are now passing the ball out the pitch, something they did not do at all in the first half.
So some of their players do look rattled. That's what this fixture can do to you.
See, for me, this will tell you how fit McGregor is.
Yes, exactly.
Because if Celtic ever need Callum McGregor right now, he'll come on.
Tom Lawrence has fouled Rio Hatate this time. I wonder if he has to be careful just on a totting up basis.
Well, it could be the moment now. Hatate off and McGregor on.
I mean, even that one on its own, Mark's quite. It's kind of kick on the ankle, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he'll okay get away with that. And he's just had 1 moment to go on Iwata as well.
Is that seamless?
Yeah, Diomande.
Or Diomande?
See the number.
Well, he's in a bit of pain, doesn't he? And this is what won't want at this moment in time. A change just because
there he is.
They've got on top.
Callum McGregor's getting the arm round the shoulder from Brendan Rodgers. He's getting his instructions. I think he'll know what the instruction is.
Well, he's played in enough of these games and dominated enough of them. He'll know that he has to go in there and try and calm a few of his players.
Wouldn't have come off the bench an awful lot of times though in these games.
That's
a different dynamic when you are
trying to get
being injured. You're trying to go up to the pace. Difficult to do, but
I think his presence maybe on the park, Mark, will help one or two round about, because Celtic are struggling a little bit just now. Rangers are obviously in the front foot.
You forget those early days and when you need to cut your teeth and you make your way into the squad, because I just checked, I assumed Callum McGregor would hardly have ever been a sub to come on for Celtic, but he has come on 42 times I think for Celtic in his career. But I suppose he's played so many.
An awful lot of games.
Well, I think Brendan Rodgers can see what we can see, and that is that Celtic are wobbling for the first time in the game. And the referee has done the right thing by disallowing Rangers' second goal, but there's an undeniable shift in the balance of power in the game.
You know what's improved, Hugh, from Rangers? They're pressing right away. I think Jim mentioned at half time.
Well, I'll run this is from John Suter. He's eventually cleaned out
position now.
But it goes the other side. So this is the first real Maeda Tavernier battle we've seen in the second half. Safe to say the Rangers captain does a lot better than he did in the first half.
Yeah, he dealt with that one without any problems. But Rangers pressing Celtic high up the pitch.
Oh yeah, and here goes Sima, and he's running at Greg Taylor. He's down the right hand side. It's going to be a problem for Celtic, but it's really well defended initially. Oh, but it's back to Sima.
It's a lot of space.
It's in the box. It's a terrible ball though from Tom Lawrence. Goal kick.
I think Sima's made a little bit of a difference. The presence of him, getting on the ball, he's a threat. Greg Taylor's now on Celtic made a double substitution.
Be young for Kuhn, you'd imagine.
I think that makes sense. I think that makes sense. He's on a booking as well, Hugh. You don't want to go down to 10 men, especially in Rangers on the front foot. Hatate's ran his race.
Oh, it's Rio Hatate who goes off.
I think he's been impressive today. Now, whether that's the wee knock he picked up moments ago,
or
he's been
just coming back, hasn't he?
Coming back, I don't know, but
that's not.
Here's something: will Celtic sit with two, or with McGregor and Awata?
Celtic would not have wanted to lose Hatate to this game this early. I wouldn't have thought. I mean, I know he's coming back, but he was excellent in the first half.
Yeah, he's 65 minutes at Livingston. I know this is a different game from Livingston, the pace of it. I think he has been terrific, but you just wonder if Brendan Rodgers got to sit McGregor and a two there and let O'Reilly play just one forward.
But you can see Rangers from the goal kick instantly pressing. Scales in a hole of trouble.
It looks like they've swapped jerseys at half time.
Yeah. Must be the wind, shooting with the wind down the hill.
The wind seems to be swirling, to be honest.
I know, but the two teams, they're dominating that.
Yeah, this period, the way they're shooting. Yeah.
This will tell you a lot about Scales for the remainder of the game, because he is coming under real pressure and he has to handle it.
Yeah, and it's been all Rangers really in the second half, albeit it's been stop-start.
Diamondi does well there, just to wriggle away from
Callum McGregor. And Greg Taylor brings down Sima.
Yeah,
it's going to be a free kick.
Rangers are trying to get the ball out to him as quickly as they possibly can.
Looks dangerous.
Yeah, he certainly does. Greg Taylor now knows he's in a game. He didn't have much to do against Scott Wright in the first half. Not picking Scott Wright because I don't think he was the worst, but Sima for me is a big player for Rangers.
Well, this will be an interesting period for Celtic, having to defend their box because they are coming under pressure, and this one's going to be put right in between the penalty spot and Joe Hart, you'd imagine. No, just deeper.
Yeah, I don't think he intended it to be deeper. I think your initial assessment was where he was aiming for. But it was a poor ball, but it's going to be a goal kick to Celtic.
This game's got a feeling for me that the next goal's the winner. Right, because if Rangers get it 2-2, I think they will just go on win the game. If Celtic get it, I think the game's put to bed. I think they burst Rangers' bubble. So the next goal is going to be so important.
But as clinical as Celtic were in the first half and the chances they made, and I said at half time, Rangers are getting off lightly at 2-0. Celtic in that sense have dropped out of the game altogether in the second half.
Yeah, no attacking intent at all, really.
No.
It's the exact same.
But it's just a momentum shift. That's what it is. We talk about these things a lot, but that's because they're so relevant. It's not like, in theory, Celtic should be able to just go and do what they were doing in the first half. But once you get that moment, once you get that goal at the start of the half, your mindset changes.
I think it's very difficult to dominate one of these games for both halves, because you're going to get a reaction. But Clement's obviously been in there and had a few and changed.
I think Celtic could still be dominating if Rangers hadn't got that penalty.
Possibility, because we all say that goals change games, give you such a lift, gets you back into the game. And that's why I say the next one is so important, because if Rangers get it, you would only see one winner. But if Celtic go 3-1 up, there's no way back for Rangers.
It's definitely another goal, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's never finishing 2-1. The way it's the pattern it's taking on, Rangers applying pressure, but then always, susceptible to a counter attack with the pace Celtic's got at the top end of the pitch. Yeah,
it's another free kick to Rangers. They're just going to load this one in. But this is where the wind could be a real challenge for a defending team, and it's proven that way. And it's sort of hacked over his own bar, I think, by Carter Vickers, or was it a final Rangers touch? Tom Lawrence?
Yeah, he got it off Tom Lawrence. I wonder if Joe Hart could have came for that there. It's in around the penalty spot.
I again think that's the wind. Do you not think initially it doesn't look like it's going to end up?
I think it does. Even his starting position could be higher. He's almost on his goal line there, and it's an incredibly difficult one that for Carter Vickers to defend.
Ida is going to come on for Celtic. Cantwell and Matondo are going to come on for Rangers. It's an early one. Kyogo goes off.
Yeah, Adam Ida, absolutely new to this fixture, but clearly Brendan Rodgers looking for a way to get Celtic back as any kind of attacking
force. Why I think that is? Because I'm watching the way Rangers are pressing from goal kicks, and they're shutting off those short passes. So Joe Hart gives him a longer option in Ida.
So Lawrence and Silva off, Cantwell and Matondo on. So some real pace in Rabbi Matondo. He showed last week against Hibs he can provide that finishing touch.
I'm not surprised with those substitutions, I've got to say, especially for Rangers. I think Matondo is an impact player for me. Get bags of pace, can get you a goal. Seema down the right hand side looks a threat as well. So yeah, I'm not surprised with that. And Lawrence hasn't really influenced the game. Cantwell's on there. We've seen the ball he put in for Dessers against Hibs, so they'll be looking for something off of him.
Jack Butland makes a mess of a clearance. I don't think it was a brilliant ball back to him. I think he would have taken just any clearance at that stage.
Yeah, that was a poor ball back. Young did well there just to allow Sterling to get on the ball and then press him, and that hurried him into that mistake, and Butland has to slash out. But Celtic could do with a wee bit of possession at the top end of the pitch, to take some pressure off their backline.
It's incredible because it's the 70th minute and Celtic have not really had any of that, Mark, and I don't think they've been terrible by any stretch. It's just the game's just totally shifted, and like I say, it has been stop-start as well.
Well, you think of the control Celtic had in that first period, little passing patterns through their midfield, getting out to their wide guys. There's been none of that in this second period, and Rangers have been really on the front foot, even out of possession, really pressing Celtic, and they've got their rewards for it. The game has swung,
and it becomes harder because Ida does work hard and you can see him pressing, but he's no Kyogo.
No, he's not.
And as Jim Duffy, really good of Jim to point it out, because it's great when you get that bird's eye view of it. Hatate was the second one that goes and presses with Kyogo, and now neither of them are on. Dies in Maeda goes into the book.
Well, we can honestly say it's a game of two halves. It's just, but you just wonder if Rangers can get this equaliser and really put the pressure on Celtic, because just now, and I felt for Dessers there, because that's a big goal he was looking for in his Rangers career, so he'll be desperate to make amends for that.
You have nothing worse, you run away, terrible. You rip the corner flag up and wave it around in celebration, and then
did he get
goals ruled
for
out.
His celebration?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he jumped in the crowd, didn't he? Is that still a bookable offence these days?
Yeah, I mean, in theory. I just remember him lifting the
corner flag.
Corner flag.
I'm sure I was at Ibrox when he was there.
This is radio, so you're going to have to say who you're talking about.
Mr. Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay, spotted in the crowd.
I always wondered what happened to him. I went on to good things, great things.
What's he done with his life?
I wonder if he's happy with his career.
Yeah, I suspect he will be. He does alright, doesn't he?
Oh, he does, yeah.
Maybe he would phone in after the game. He likes a profanity, as do some of our callers.
I think we
during the week.
The 8-second delay button.
Never know. Give us your thoughts, Gordon. 0141 951 1025.
Yeah, look at the wind there as well. That was just a simple one for Carter Vickers to clear up, but the wind catches hold of it. Yeah, it's incredibly testing for the players.
think that's probably what Celtic need as well. Matt O'Reilly just took it, nice bit of skill, draws a foul, just to keep it a bit.
He's been good today. I mean, he's had a wee bit of criticism from the turn of the year where he's went off the boil a wee bit because he had a terrific first half of the season, but he's been really good.
Here we go.
Yeah, Carter Vickers has to clean up a mess created, I think mostly by Liam Scales. Callum McGregor was involved, but Scales gave him a ball, Gordon, that he never really
he
wanted.
He get caught with it under his feet. The one thing I've noticed is Rangers are that bit sharper than Celtic now. They're getting to every ball, they're winning the second balls, they're starting to put nice balls into the front men as well.
All the composure Celtic had is gone, but then that maybe comes from Rangers being more at it as well.
Well, it's a terrible cliche, and Gordon's already used it, but it is a game of two halves.
Here they are, Rangers in the box. Todd Cantwell twists and turns, and he finds James Tavernier, stands it up, but headed away.
I thought he would have shot
by
that.
Alistair Johnson.
I know he was a bit wide, and I don't think it's that bad a ball. Actually, just think to the back post.
Ooh, that's going to be a head knock, I think. Although John Beaton lets play go on, which is always a risky strategy as it comes in. I think it looked like a clear head knock straight away, so I'm surprised that went on. But anyway, Yang, and he initiated it. He tried to close down, I think it was Diomande, and win a header. And
he's chewed them.
Yeah, Yang's come off worse.
I'm surprised, having praised John Beaton, all the big calls right, he's looking straight at that and allowed play to go on.
He needs to stop that right away.
I don't think we can be too harsh on Beaton this afternoon, I've got to say.
No, but
so far I know that, listen, he's always going to get one that we always disagree with, but if you get three big calls and in our opinion he's called them right, I think he's having a good game.
Liam Scales kicks it off the back of Callum McGregor.
Has fallen apart.
It's getting a bit different here, this game. It looks very, very different.
Scales now looks like someone who...
It looks like the Rangers defenders did in the first half.
He looks in panic mode.
Yeah, John Beaton would have woke up this morning and thought, just give me 90 minutes. No controversy, no looking at monitors, nothing like that. And he said anything but.
First chance for Adam Ida to hold it in, and he does well. And he's actually got a ball into the box, and that's a chance for Celtic. It's really good defending.
Who was it who was defending?
I wonder if it was Sterling that tucked in.
Yeah.
That turned out to be a very, very good opportunity for Celtic.
Yeah,
out of nothing, really.
Yeah, and he does. It's a good ball. Yang just a bit slow.
Was it Yang?
But I think Sterling does great there as a full-back covering round just to get in and make that last-ditch challenge.
I think they want the ball put out because I think he's still down as a result of it.
Who's Sterling?
Well, Goldson was pointing at something. Maybe I'm.
Players down all over the place now.
It's another Celtic player down now. And
Celtic's decision making is very strange in this second half. Iwata just totally caught on the ball when he could have launched something there.
Well, like Rangers that were in the first half, they're caught up in something and they don't know how to get out of it. And the composure has gone to pieces.
Really good from Adam Ida, that you have to say.
Yeah, that's what he brings. He's got that strength and awareness. Good player, Ida. And he picks that. It's a good ball across. I think that's very good defending from Sterling. He's clutching his knee.
Next player on is Kieran Dowell. We've not really seen too much of him.
Diomande off, probably.
And then maybe a shift in the pecking order, because you might notice that Kieran Dowell, who's been injured and hasn't featured much, is on the bench. He's going to come on. And no Nicholas Raskin on the bench for Rangers today.
Is he not injured?
Nope.
No, I'm surprised at that. He's been right down the pecking order then. I thought he would have been involved at some stage here, but it's a good opportunity for Dowell. I think Diomande's run his race, or a bit concerned here about Sterling. He's still down, but he should be okay.
Especially, what makes you say that? Because it didn't look like an impact injury, did it? On his knee?
What, Sterling? I just think it was a collision that he's went into. I think it was Mark's right. I think it was great defending, because if he's not there, Yang's got a great opportunity to put this game to bed. But he's still getting treatment, still a little bit of pain, but just maybe one of those that after a couple of minutes, we've all had them, you run them off, don't you?
Physio's saying to him, better get up, because we don't want to put Barisic on. The manager's told me you better get up.
Oh yeah.
But he's taking a bit of time over this.
Is that the problem, if you call it that, when you now turn to Borna Barisic, if you have to at some point between now and the end of the season? He knows that the manager doesn't think much of him.
Yeah, well, he still has to be professional enough to go and do a job, of course, but it looks like Sterling will be okay.
Kieran Dowell is going to come on.
Who's the one he's replacing?
Must be Diomande.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
good shout. You know your stuff.
Mohamed Diomande on.
Be.
Well, the minutes tick by. We're 77 minutes in now.
Quick second half, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
It has been, yeah.
And Rangers, you would still favour Rangers to score next rather than Celtic, I think, because of the way the second half's progressed.
Yeah, it's maybe dipped slightly, the momentum, Gordon, but yeah, if you had to pick one, he was probably not far off.
Yeah, but the thing that's going to happen in the next 10 minutes
frantic is this?
Yeah, Rangers will throw a lot at it, and that's where they could get picked off. They just need to be careful, because Celtic have got a good front three as well. That's a great ball, isn't it?
The wind, maybe.
I'm not
sure.
sure. The advertising board as well.
Yeah, it was slipped through Kieran Dowell, who's come on. He's not played since the 2nd of January, a home game against Kilmarnock. Kieran Dowell, he's only made 12 Rangers appearances. It's been a real injury hit start to life at Ibrox for him.
He's a bit unlucky there with the ball there. I think that was
wind.
Yeah, probably
Wind assisted.
When you're Greg Taylor now, you know the challenge is different. If you leave that gap in between, you know Seamer's got the pace to run and catch that, so it's going to be a tough 20 minutes.
Adam Ida does really well.
I think that's why they brought him on, to play back to goal. I think he's a lot better than Kyogo back to goal. Celtic need to get up the pitch. They weren't getting up the pitch. They need somebody to hold it in and get the support there. As Maida,
he twists and he does well, but then he slips and the ball goes out of play.
A lot of players losing their footing today on the surface. Looks quite slippy. That time Maeda, he'd actually done Goldson with a dummy there, but he's lost his footing at the crucial time.
Do you make of the new hairdo?
Brilliant.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
What colour are we? What's that? Is it a platinum look? What would we? How are we describing it?
Peroxide blonde.
I'd just say nice. I'm describing it nice.
Just nice. I don't think that's a colour.
That's not the word I was. Adam Ida's done brilliant. He's robbed Connor Goldson, but he's in the corner. Goldson wanted a foul. It was never a foul.
Shooter can't go there.
Adam Ida. He's just done too much on his own. Adam Ida. He had teammates all around, and that's going to be
terrible ball.
This
terrible
is awful
passage of play.
Awful attack
from everybody involved there.
And it was a really good start. They had a really good opportunity to perhaps put this game to bed.
Surely he must look at Yang standing there on his own.
He clearly wanted the shot on his own, but he then just did far too much with it. There's a Rangers defender, I think, still down in the box. Chance, big chance. Rangers blocked Carter Vickers.
Block that is.
Yeah, Matondo. He's got a habit of coming in that right foot for that left wing and scoring.
Did brilliantly against Hibs last week, didn't he?
Yeah, it was a good opportunity for him there. Great block.
The ball does bounce off Ida this time.
What kind of wind taking that? That was a pass out wide from Dowell, and it just picked up speed in a way. But that whole passage of play there, Goldson getting robbed, then Goldson's recovery run was shocking actually. Allowed Ida to get into the box. He took too much time. Even when Yang got onto it, poor pass back to Plata.
He did excellent, Adam Ida, initially, if you should say. And how critical can those be, Gordon? Because when you are up against it, and Celtic have been in the second half, take your one chance and it comes along, and then maybe the game flips back in you. Well, it does flip back in your favour.
Take your one chance and you've got 3 points and you're away. It's as simple as that. Rangers wouldn't come back from that. I just thought he picked the wrong option when he got in, but it was good build-up play. I thought he's done well since he's come on. He's up against Suter and Goldson. He's working away there, trying to hold the ball in, trying to get Celtic up the pitch a wee bit, because Celtic are going deeper and deeper now. Well,
it's going to be some final 10 minutes, Hugh, that's for sure, and it'll be longer because we've had a VAR penalty check, we've had a VAR check on a goal that was ruled out, and we've had numerous substitutions.
Now you have to pause
back and enjoy it.
Pause for breath as Paulo Bernardo comes on for Celtic. You now have to pause and think about the implications. Were Celtic to win 2-1, the league title race changes, because I think Celtic would then be the favourites to win, because what they have to do then is beat Rangers again at Celtic Park and not slip up in the remaining matches, such as St Mirren next weekend at Celtic Park. If Rangers come back from 2 down to win 3-2, then everything changes in their favour. I think they go on and win the league. That is the importance of the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an exciting finish, whatever way you look at it. I know some of you can barely look. And that will be the way it works but for us, we can try and enjoy it and then get your reaction at full time, of course. Sima digs one out. Maeda goes in on Lundstrom. Has Maeda been booked?
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong, that's never a second booking, but it adds to the picture.
Yeah, he's been booked, but this just gives another opportunity for Tavernier to load this right into the Celtic box. Celtic have defended these situations pretty well so far, but you just can't keep giving those opportunities, especially with the wind the way it is. Very unpredictable, very hard to gauge your line.
Good ball in.
It's just going to be a harmless header over the top from John Lundstrom.
Yeah, Celtic will be happy with that. Kills a bit of time. You just wonder if there's another goal, Mark. We said there would be.
I think there will be, but I think Celtic have managed this last period okay, because they did look like they were shaking for a bit, but I would say the last 5 or 6 minutes they've managed to stem that flow a wee bit towards Joe Hart's goal, which will please Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, Adam Ida's doing well. He's tussling with Connor Goldson and making life hard for him.
Yeah, he's
done well since he came on.
Yeah, he's given a physical dimension to it which Kyogo would be unable to handle, but he'll still be kicking himself over that chance that presented itself.
But again, that change for me just comes about with Rangers all on their press. They're going high up the pitch, so it just allows Joe Hart just to go a bit more direct. You've then got fresh legs and McGregor and Bernardo to get up round about Ida if you can get the ball up to him. It's
the first we've really seen of Callum McGregor. He does well initially, then just difficult to get more out of it.
I don't think he'd have been happy chasing that ball, especially when he's been out so long.
Coming on with a sore calf.
Yeah, so
to chase it down the line. But anyway, 84, Rangers 1, Celtic 2.
And a fascinating game, it would have to be said. That,
it's tiring to watch you.
Yeah,
never mind to take part in.
There's so much to talk about once the final whistle blows and we can actually draw breath and try to remember everything that went on. But it's been an exceptionally good match.
And it's not done yet. James Tavernier coming forward, trying to make something happen. He does find Dessers, and he in turn finds Kieran Dowell. And Celtic just can't get their lines cleared here. And you know that Matondo's got that pace as the ball comes into the box.
Yeah, it was a poor clearance that time from Scales on his right foot, and Rangers just a bit of pressure starting to build again on the Celtic back line. And they're going deeper. Celtic, you're right. You're right. They are going deeper. Whether if you look at the first half, Celtic were a good 15 yards higher up the pitch,
and that's what Celtic want. Rangers have just played it right out of play for a goal kick. That allows everything to just calm down again. And Philippe Clement, though, he's trying to make sure it doesn't calm down. He wants that tempo kept up.
Yeah, without doubt he will, because he knows there's a chance, or at least a couple of chances left in this game, particularly with the win going with them. That opportunity just to put Scales under pressure, put Carter Vickers and Johnson and Taylor. They can't afford just to kick it aimlessly at the pitch.
Adam Ida again does well. Callum McGregor can't keep it alive, goes out for a throw-in.
Yeah, Ida's done well since he's come on. He fought his battle with Goldson. You've got to imagine there's one more chance in this game. You've got to. I don't know who it's coming from, but you've got to imagine there's got to be
one. By the way, Goldson does well there, because I thought he was going to get tripped up by a whatever that is, a plastic carrier bag that was on the pitch, but he did well to avoid it.
Yeah, Callum McGregor, Mark, he's obviously brought on to inject calmness, but he's giving the ball away in a dangerous area, and here comes Matondo, and it might fall to Sima, edge of the box, and it's in the back of the net.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Rangers 2, Celtic 2, and it's Abdallah Sima. Fell to him, he rifled it goalwards. It maybe took a nick, I think it did, and it goes high into the net. And with 86 gone, maybe that's not even the last we'll see today. Rangers 2, Celtic 2.
I did say there's got to be one more chance, but Callum McGregor, he gives the ball away cheaply in the middle of the park, and does he get punished for it? Sima has been a big player for Rangers, gets a deflection, doesn't he? But there's one goal in this. Matondo cuts inside, it falls to Sima, he just takes a chance. It
huge
comes
deflection, actually,
goalkeeper absolutely no chance, but Callum McGregor has just given Rangers a lifeline.
And Mark, there you are. You have to say it, the Celtic captain, so much made about his inclusion, and he's given the ball away.
It was a needless pass, by the way. I'm going to give credit to Sterling though, because he is active, he is up and yang, and he's the one that nicks it and then has the composure to play the pass out wide. But McGregor, a huge mistake at a critical time.
Maybe a chance for Adam Ida here up the other end. And it is! It's a goal!
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
We are witnessing an incredible game of football at Ibrox, and it's Celtic who take the lead again. Rangers 2, Celtic 3. Adam Ida shifts it onto his right foot, rifles it beyond Jack Butland, and this is an old firm game for the ages, Hugh Keevins.
At a time when Celtic should have been deflated, they are now elated because they have scored against all the odds. Ida has taken it superbly well when Rangers assumed that they had gathered at least 1 point and were banking on a third, and not taking all the credit away from Ida. I think Jack Butland could have done better there.
Yeah, but if you rewind that for Rangers, Cantwell is terrible. He's got to go and win the ball. But after that, it's all about Celtic. It's all about Ida. Great composure. I said it. He's been excellent since he's come on. He's a different player to Kyogo. He's been a handful. And you're right, Butland maybe could have done a lot better, but well done to Celtic centre forward. I think that's a good finish.
Goalkeepers will tell you, Mark, they're the ones that they hate because it's too close almost. If you don't stick out your foot, you're not getting there with your hand, if that makes any sense. That's not to say he shouldn't do better, but they can cause problems for goalkeepers because he probably needs to stick out a foot, but he tries to go down with his hands, and it goes under him. But all credit Adam Ida.
Oh, without doubt. And by the way, Bernardo as well.
Yes,
where Bernardo picks up the ball, he sees the pass, and it's got to be inch perfect because Ida's in between Suter and
Adam
Sterling.
Ida's nutmegging people and all sorts now. He's got his confidence up.
But he does well. I thought he'd lost his chance there just when Sterling got back in, but he shifts it well. And what a game we are witnessing. From the despair at one end and the disappointment you must have as a Celtic player to go up there the other end and grab something so quickly. Incredible.
Hugh, let's be honest, even the most optimistic Celtic fans felt that Rangers would probably go on and win it.
Without doubt.
When that second goal went in. It's great character from Celtic.
It's tremendous, but it's not over yet. Rangers coming now.
Yeah, it is not over yet. Abdallah Sima trying to make something happen again.
If Celtic get out of this with 3 points,
there's a bit of a gap here. Todd Cantwell, but it's cleared.
Got to do better. If Celtic get out of this 3 points, the first person I'll congratulate Ida is Callum McGregor.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, the Celtic captain not covering himself in glory for the equaliser. That's going to be a free kick to Rangers in a dangerous position. It's not often you say this, Mark, because he's the opposite of this word, but is that a lazy bit of a lazy leg from Ida? You can forgive him
he
that.
Does get tired.
89.5 minutes gone.
These are the moments because Celtic have to stand firm here. Ibrox is on tenterhooks.
Yeah, good ball in. James Tavernier. The perspective of the camera, I thought that was heading towards the goal.
And I thought it should have. I thought, was it Goldson? I thought he had more time there. And again, does it come off his shoulder again?
I think it's a Celtic player, no? Well, it's a goal kick actually, but yeah, I think that hits
Scales does well.
I think that should be a corner.
8 minutes added on.
Wow.
8.
Strap yourselves in. Maybe this one isn't done yet. Rangers 2, Celtic 3. Remember, if for some reason you've just got in the car, Celtic were 2-0 up at half time and cruising. It could have been anything. Rangers levelled, and then straight away Adam Ida went up the other end and put Celtic back in front. It's been a sensational football match.
One of the classics. You know, we always go over, another terrible pass.
Who was that?
Yeah, Yang's in the box, but it just was overrunning, and it's great power from Dujon Sterling.
Well, it was a horrendous pass. Was it Cantwell maybe that played it across? No, Dowell, sorry. Dowell, left-footed, blind across his own box. Lucky that just didn't fall for Yang, and that would have been game over. But there's still a chance left in this, no doubt.
He could finish up 5-4 at this rate.
My biggest regret is David Frill's not on the programme.
The postman didn't deliver.
Big 0-0, man.
Anyway, James Tavernier has it and just strings it across to find Lundstrom and trying to build. That's poor from Rangers. How hard is it for Celtic, Mark, to not get camped in here?
Yeah, well, I was going to say they need to start pressing Rangers and not allowing this ball just to keep coming back. They're sitting at the edge of their box just now. That's a dangerous game. I thought that was a foul on Johnson, but good battling.
He's done excellent. He fell over, he got back up, he then cleared it off of Rabbi Matondo and out for a goal kick.
He did great there because Matondo's shown his strength there, just nudging him off the ball.
Yeah, it's been an unbelievable day, and it is not quite done yet.
Not by a long way.
We've played 2 minutes of the 8, and remember, it's a minimum of 8, so any significant stoppages that occur from here on in would still be added on at the end of that.
But Celtic have got to go up. I mean, it's such a day that if Celtic could get into the Rangers box, it could be 4-2, or it could be 3-3.
And it's actually very stretched. It's much more open than I expected. But there's mistakes happening all over the place.
Johnston.
He goes with the wrong foot.
I never coached him that.
I thought it was a really poor pass from Rangers, but then Alistair Johnson just missed the ball, and there's Rabbi Matondo. Oh, what a goal that is!
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Just like he did against Hibs last weekend, it's very similar. Rabbi Matondo cuts in on his right foot, smashes it into the far top corner, and there is still time for this to be won. Rangers 3, Celtic 3.
Yeah, you're right. It could be a goal at either end. There's no point in saying the momentum is now with Rangers, because we said that at 3-2, or rather at 2-2, and Celtic were up the park and scored within seconds. But you would fancy Rangers to go on and win this.
There have been some fine goals in this game. How good is that?
A sensational goal, because you're not quite sure if there's any danger there. They do show him inside onto the right foot. It's Yang that does it, but still, he's an awful long way out. He's got an awful lot to do. Curls it round Joe Hart. What a goal that is to make it 3-3.
Incredible. You've got to get back. Alistair Johnson, we're having a laugh, and little does he
it's really
know,
poor from him.
Poor. But see, if you look at Joe Hart, he takes a step to his right, and Matondo just fires that into the left.
We don't even need to talk about Joe Hart.
Superb goal.
Surely not.
Superb goal. Absolutely brilliant. And do you know something? I said it when he come on. He's confident of doing that. Done it last week. He's got a wee habit.
There's a sliced clearance from Rangers in the box. This is incredible. This is incredible.
Well,
I'm not sure about that one. John Beaton saw something in Liam Scales' challenge. It's a free kick, but it's in the Rangers half.
Well, Dessers will be quick to get up the other end of the pitch, because this should go on top of it should go on top of the Celtic backline. When you've just scored, Celtic backline will be rattled. You need to test them out. It's going to be route 1 from Butland. It's been an incredible 94 minutes so far.
I think there's one left, Hugh.
Yeah,
it's got that feeling about it.
Absolutely.
It's been that type of day.
If you've had a 6-goal thriller, you might as well have a 7. And my money would be on Rangers to score, because the whole of Ibrox is willing that ball into the net, and the players are making mistakes all over the park.
Yeah, it becomes hard. And there's John Suter made one, and Adam Eder nutmegs him, but I don't think he's going to be able to keep it alive. There's just too many Rangers bodies round about him.
Well, 3 minutes minimum to go.
It will be a minimum, because there was a goal within the added time. So.
Well, it's not been a boring afternoon.
No, incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I told you Rangers would score 3.
Yeah, you're right, Hugh.
You were spot on, Hugh.
Yeah, something like that.
But when you think about it, both sides, if you say to them before a game, you'll score 3 goals, you're thinking you're going to win it.
Yes.
So there'll be disappointments in both sides with the goals against, but there have been some good characters shown, especially Rangers coming back again, 2-0 down, back to 2-2, 3-2 down, and then what a fantastic goal. But there's been some excellent goals. You go back to O'Reilly's penalty kick as well.
Rangers have got home advantage, momentum, that sort of thing. But I mean, if you're Celtic, Mark, do you go for this or not? I mean, a lot of the talk before the game is they'd maybe take a draw.
Now, I think when you've seen the speed at how they took that free kick there, you could quite clearly see, I think they're settling for the draw. If you're Rangers, look, Butland's getting the ball quickly. Goldson going off, is he?
Yeah, it looks like.
What's happened here? Not often we see that. Connor Goldson off and Liam Balogun on. It might well be something like that.
Yeah, well, Rangers will be quick to try and get this up the other end.
No, he seems to go in next to James Tavernier for now.
Goldson feeling a niggle or something, maybe. I'm surprised to take.
Here we are.
Cameron Carter-Vickers takes no chances. Earlier on in the game, that's rolled back to Joe Hart every day of the week. He puts it into the stand, and Rangers have a throw-in though, trying to just keep that pressure on. 1.5 minimum left to play, And this has been incredible. It really has. What an afternoon at Ibrox. It might not be done yet.
It's amazing when you think of the small moments in the game. But that Alistair Johnson, you know, us having a laugh, he goes with the wrong foot, he totally misses
really
it, he ends up at
Celtic,
Matondo's feet. And how different does that look in, you know, not only this game but the title race as a whole?
We said in the first half Rangers right back had a real torrid time. Johnston second half has given away the penalty kick, and then obviously the mistake there, Matondo punishes him.
God, it's really poor from Greg Taylor. Celtic had the chance to actually build something in the 98th minute, but he just puts too much on the ball and it goes through for a goal kick. The Rangers fans are urging Jack Butland to get it up the park.
Oh, the bugles are blowing, the sirens are wailing. It's just get it in there and see what happens. But Celtic are going to throw in to advance to the other end of the pitch.
I didn't think I'd say this at half time, Hugh, but I think Brendan Rodgers will be happy with a point now.
For sure. The 98 minutes have just about come and gone now, so
yeah, if there's time for another chance, it will be just one, and that will be it. And this could be it. It's Cyril Dessers. And he flashes it just wide. Cyril Dessers from outside the box. That's 98 minutes. We said it will be a minimum because there was a goal scored within that time. He just got too much of the outside of the foot and it goes wide.
Yeah, it was always travelling away from Joe Hart. It was almost like he looked up at the clock though and thought, I've got one last shot here, I need to get it off quickly, because he did have a wee bit of time.
But 98 and a half minutes gone, 6 goals, numerous talking points, high drama as always, and potentially a share of the spoils. And it is full time at Ibrox.
Rangers 3, Celtic 3, the full-time score. Breathless, entertaining, a game that will go down as a classic. Action from the opening seconds to the last, and it hasn't stopped there because the players are out on the pitch pushing and shoving each other. It's boiled over at the end. It is being celebrated like a win here at Ibrox, but the points are shared in what has been a crazy afternoon in Glasgow. It took just 21 seconds for Celtic to silence Ibrox, and in bizarre fashion as well. James Tavernier taking way too much time over a clearance. He then eventually made contact with the ball, but there was Daisen Maeda. He got in the way, the ball ricocheted off him, low and hard from the edge of the box, past Jack Butland to put Celtic ahead so early on. It really seemed to rattle Rangers as well. They were all over the place in that first half. Celtic looked to take advantage. Jack Butland having to make saves from Daisen Maeda and from Matt O'Reilly. They eventually got that second goal. It came from the penalty spot. A Connor Goldson handball, not spotted initially by John Beaton. He was then sent to the monitor and pointed to the spot. Matt O'Reilly stepped up to take, and as casual as you like, dinked it down the middle and doubled Celtic's lead. Rangers really needed to change something going into that second half. Abdallah Sima came on for Scott Wright. They immediately looked a lot more comfortable, and then they got their pathway back into the game. Fabio Silva booked for diving in the box, but a VAR review took place. John Beaton changed his mind and gave a penalty instead. James Tavernier finding the top corner from 12 yards. That completely shifted the atmosphere in this stadium. A few minutes later, Rangers thought they'd equalise. Cyril Dessers tapping in, wheeling away in celebration. John Beaton then sent to the screen again. This time what he saw was a foul in the build-up onto Moki Iwata, and the goal was ruled out. Celtic remained ahead, but Rangers did level things up with just 5 minutes to go. Callum McGregor had come off the bench, but he gave the ball away. Rangers worked it up the park. Abdallah Sima's strike was deflected and went into the top corner past Joe Hart. Ibrox went absolutely mental, but then the game changed again 2 minutes later. Paulo Bernardo's pass was really good into Adam Ida, shifted it onto his right, low and hard past Jack Butland, and that sent Celtic ahead yet again with only 3 minutes to go of the 90. Was it over? Absolutely not. Into injury time, Rabi Matondo cut in, curled a brilliant shot into the top corner. Nothing Joe Hart could do about that, and Ibrox absolutely erupted. What a game. It had absolutely everything, but it's as you were in the table and in the title race as well. The full-time score here, Rangers 3, Celtic 3. Jim Duffy, what have we just witnessed?
Yeah, just a magnificent spectacle. What I would do is I would be sending a message to Neil Doncaster at SPFL. You're negotiating a TV deal. promote that game. That game was magnificent from start to finish, outstanding. It had everything you want. It had fantastic goals, great football, a turnaround that we never could foresee in the second half. End to end drama, controversy, everything that is brilliant about our football, that had it today in abundance. It was a joy to be here, a joy to watch. Both sets of players deserve an enormous amount of credit. Celtic in the first half were absolutely breathtaking at times, and 2-0 did not flatter them at all. In the second half, Rangers obviously had a bit of a rocket from the manager, changed the dynamics, pressed Celtic higher. Celtic couldn't quite get into the rhythm, and it looked for all the world as if Rangers were going to go 2-2. Getting back there, we had that goal chalked off for VAR, and then Adam Ida comes up with a magnificent goal, 3-2. The guys in the studio were right. You didn't think that would be the end of it, because the game was so open. As I said, it was so end to end. There was two teams desperate to try and win it, and Rangers get that equaliser with Rabbi Matondo. The subs played a part, some in the positive side, some in the negative side. Obviously Ida, Matondo, Sima all scoring. The likes of Cal McGregor giving the ball away. Yang, for me, he should have done an awful lot better. Matondo, you've got to show him wide. No, you can't show him in the pitch. But listen, we can dissect that all day. The phone lines will be absolutely melting tonight and the rest of this week, and hopefully we get a lot of talk about the quality of the game, because for me, as a spectator watching it today, that to me was absolute top class. That was Hollywood football at its very best.
The Rangers players have done a lap. They've been applauding the supporters who have stayed inside Ibrox to applaud the efforts of the players. A goal within 21 seconds, VAR calls, penalties, 6 goals, an injury time equaliser and a full-time Rami. Just another day in Scottish football. The full-time score at Ibrox, Rangers 3, Celtic 3.
And now it's over to you to find out what you made of all of that, and there is a lot to get through, so give us a call right now. 0141 951 1025. That is the number you need, and as an extra special Sunday bonus, you'll be able to watch the phone in like you can during the week on the live stream as well. So give us a call right now and we'll speak to you next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. Fault and non-fault insurance specialist. Robert will even pay your excess. The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. The full electric range is now available on Motability.
Get up to £400 off selected Peloton bike and tread purchases, and let our classes energise your day. That's school run, easy after 20 minutes on the bike. Back-to-back meetings.
Sorry I'm late.
No problem after a yoga class. Power up with up to £400 off selected Peloton bike and tread purchases, and make day-changing energy.
Offer ends 8th of April. Internet connection and Peloton all-access membership at £39 a month required to access Peloton content. Terms apply. See onepeloton.co.uk.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast.
With Lucas Land Rover. Looking to sell your Land Rover? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Wow, what an afternoon at Ibrox. And now it's over to you to have your say on the open line. And for the first time that we've done this, I think we've shifted into the other studio. You can watch the phone in all its glory. I know we do it during the week, but here we are in the aftermath of Rangers 3, Celtic 3. So you can watch along on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all the usual outlets. If you're listening on the radio, nothing changes for you, and please do give us a call. 0141 951 1025. All your thoughts please on Rangers 3, Celtic 3. An incredible afternoon. Celtic led 2-0 at the break. They were extremely comfortable, 2-0 up and cruising. Rangers levelled it at 2-2. Celtic went straight up the park and made it 3-2, and then a late Rabbi Matondo equaliser means it's as you were at the top. You've seen a lot of these fixtures, and that's an understatement, Hugh Keevins.
Yeah.
That was quite something.
I'm trying to work out who the result favours. Philippe Clement went around Ibrox to all four corners of the ground to salute the supporters, and he did so with the air of a man who thought it benefited Rangers. He will go to Dundee midweek. The Rangers will beat Dundee and they will go back to the top of the league. However, Celtic have Rangers to play at Celtic Park. So after enjoying one of the genuine classics of this fixture, I think that the championship is still in the balance. Celtic could beat Rangers at Celtic Park, and that could affect things. Or Rangers could go there, and on the strength of what happened today, they could beat Celtic there or draw there, and they could get the title. So I think we enjoy the classic. I'm not sure who it puts in the driving seat for the title. I think both are still in it.
Well, it was a remarkable afternoon. I mean, before the game, it was my opinion that if Celtic got away from Ibrox with a draw, I think Brendan Rodgers would have been happy. However, when you see the way the game then plays out, and so in control in the first 45 minutes, 2 up, could have easily been 3 or 4, and for quite a shift in that second period to go against you, even taking the lead at 3-2 with minimal time left, you think it's a disappointment. I think though when Brendan Rodgers analyses the full game and getting away from Ibrox with a point, it's another game that he's not lost against Rangers. Another game goes by where Rangers have failed to beat Celtic in a real meaningful game with 50,000 of their own supporters. I think it favours Celtic, but because of the balance of the game and how it looked at 1 point, of course the Celtic manager will be disappointed in that.
Overall, I think both sides will be happy with the draw. I think if you'd have said to Rangers at half time, I'll give you a point here, they'd have snapped your hand off. I think going into the game, Celtic fans and Brendan Rodgers would have probably thought, right, if we can, as long as we don't lose to Rangers today, we're still in the driving seat because we've got that home advantage at Celtic Park against them. So I've got to say, I think at the end of the game it was a fantastic game. I think Jim Duffy summed it up absolutely brilliant. It was Hollywood. This is what our game's all about. Sometimes these games get built up and then it's a damp squib. There's no sort of a quality to it. Can't say that today. We had absolutely everything.
Let's get stuck in on these phone lines. They look hot. 01419511025. Brian is a Celtic fan in Knightswood. Sum it up, Brian. What do you make of that?
Firstly, how you doing, guys? Thanks for having us on.
Pleasure.
As I said, I'm a Celtic fan, but if you're a neutral, you're maybe down south watching that, that's a great advert for Scottish football. Fantastic. That's what you want to see. Good goals, controversy, good football at times. Listening to you guys talking there, I think you was saying, I think if I'm being honest, I think Rangers are in the driving seat. I fully expect them to go up to Dens through a week and get the result up there. And just the way Celtic have been playing this season, I'll be honest, I was fearful today coming in. I was expecting us to take a hiding. 2-0 up at half time, you're thinking brilliant. But I even said to my young son, game's not done. If we get away here by a point, you go 3-2 up, you're thinking, right, that's it, brilliant. It's going to be a great day in work tomorrow. And
that's the important bit, isn't it, Brian?
Exactly.
Forget the league table.
As I said, it was a great game of football. The point I wanted to come on, I'm a regular listener to the show, and obviously the last couple of weeks you've been talking quite a lot through the week about VAR and referees and things like that, and I always try my hardest not to give referees a hard time. I used to coach youth football, played football at an amateur level, and I've done a bit of refereeing myself, albeit at a very low level, and it's a hard gig. Now, listen, there's no two ways, it's a hard gig. But for me today, John Beaton has had an absolute howler. It's just inconsistency. See the wee fouls, hands on the shoulders, the shoulder tackles, the 50-50s, everything seemed to go Rangers' way. I'm probably looking at that from a Celtic fan's point of view, but for me, I felt it gave quite a lot to Rangers today and gave Celtic very little.
Apart from a penalty and ruling out a Rangers goal.
But to be fair, but he had to go back at VAR. He's looking at, when you see the replay, he sees that tackle. He sees the Rangers boy comes in and doesn't make any. He makes contact with the Celtic player and still allows play to go on. VAR had to call him back for that.
I have to say, Brian, that I thought it was rank bad decision making by the SFA to appoint John Beaton. However, having said that, I have to say that you are 100% wrong when you say he had a howler. He had anything but a howler. He gave Celtic a penalty, he gave Rangers a penalty, both of them justifiable. He disallowed the Rangers goal because of that tackle on Iwata. And there may have been small things here and there, as all referees will do. However, in that game, the very, very last topic of conversation should be John Beaton's performance. We have paid tribute to it as an outstanding match which enhances the reputation of Scottish football as a whole. John Beaton contributed towards that. He made the big calls and he made them correctly. So for me, John Beaton rises above any form of criticism for his performance today.
With the pressure coming into that game that John Beaton was under, I totally agree with everything you said there. I thought John Beaton had 3 big calls to make. Yes, there was 1 or 2 wee fouls. We can all argue about that. You're never going to get everything correct. Of course you're not, especially the pace of the game and everything that's going on. But the 3 big calls today, John Beaton was spot on the money, and I think as a referee we should get away from this because it's easy to deflect onto the referee. Let's blame him. John Beaton had a very good game at Ibrox today.
See this stuff, Brian, about but he needed VAR to do it. I mean, it is kind of what it's there for, and we're the first ones to criticise it when they get the VAR checks wrong, bearing in mind when the eventual Rangers penalty is given, John Beaton books Fabio Silva for diving initially. So any notion that I was always going to give Rangers a penalty for that instance, that's literally not true when he booked Fabio Silva for diving first. So I know what you're saying. There's bound to be bits that we can disagree on, but over the piece, the amount of scrutiny, the way this fixture is, everything said in the build-up, did they not get most of it right?
Just a quick one then, guys. As I said, that the VAR, he did call it back to disallow the Rangers goal, but as I said, you see the replay, he's looking right at that. If he can't see that that's a foul, why does he need VAR? That's the whole point of refereeing. I know VAR's there to help. And just another one, the penalty on Fabio Silva, obviously I thought at first, brilliant, he's booked him, it's a dive, it's a clear dive. But then he's went over and looked at the VAR. I don't know about you guys, but do you honestly think that's a penalty? I'll be honest with you, if that was up the other end of the park and Celtic were giving that penalty, I'd be laughing under my breath thinking we've got away with one.
It's probably the most debatable of them, for sure.
At the start, I think both Mark and I thought it was a dive. However, to underline your point, Gordon, he went to the monitor on occasions when he got something wrong and corrected himself. That is what it's there for. I just think that of all the topics of conversation we have today, John Beaton is the very last.
But this is the point. I made this during the week. This was set in stone before, and that was the depressing bit. It did not matter what John Beaton did today. We were getting calls about John Beaton at full time. That was decided already.
For me, the SFA created a gratuitous distraction. It was too soon to the Brendan Rodgers incident at Tynecastle. They could have chosen another referee. However, he handled the responsibility exceptionally well, and I'm sorry that we are starting this part of the programme by going on about John Beaton, having witnessed one of the all-time classic Old Firm games.
Mark, the Rangers penalty decision I think does go down as the most debatable because Alistair Johnson gets a nick on the ball. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I'm not as convinced it's a stonewall penalty as used where, because I did see Johnson make contact with the ball. You see the ball move, but there's no doubt about it, he then contacts Silva's knee, so it's not a dive. So both can be true. I must admit, thinking about it now, I'm surprised if Johnson gets that ball and he touches the ball and he's made the initial tackle, he's falls through, he's taking him into Silva, then I would say Rangers were on the fortunate side to get that.
Disagree. Listen, at full speed, I thought, like everyone else, it's a dive, right? When you watch it and you see it back again, and that's the reason VAR's there, that's the reason John Beaton goes over. I think he's called it right. Understand what Mark's saying. He catches him above the knee. That's a penalty kick for me.
I look at it from where I would be, where Alistair Johnson would be, up against Silva, who's taken me both ways, inside and outside, and I'm trying to make up for my mistake. Now, if I then get contact on the ball to divert that away and my follow through takes it into Silva, I think I'm hard done by.
Is the bit that probably does him was the height of that leg? I mean, you say follow through, but the leg's sort of raised once you contact the ball.
I don't know if he can control that just when he contacts the ball. I'm not sure Alistair Johnson's intentionally then trying to impede.
Intent's not really relevant, remember.
But it's just probably the way his body's fell. So again, look, he made contact. It's definitely not a dive. Whether Silver was at it all day, that wasn't a dive, and Beaton got that wrong.
But already,
I know,
we've forgotten about the classic that we've just watched, and in the very first call, we're down the conspiracy road.
I don't think Brian said that, to be fair.
I think Brian wanted to have John Beaton in some way, shape or form, in spite of watching a 3-3 classic, in spite of Celtic coming away from Ibrox on top of the league. Brian having admitted that he expected Celtic to take a bit of a going over today. And the very first topic, because this is Glasgow in the west of Scotland, the very first topic is conspiracy.
Brian didn't say conspiracy.
I think it's always going to be a talking point. When
you're saying
VAR.
the first topic is conspiracy. Brian, don't put words in his mouth, because he didn't say that. So he was just wanting to talk about he's the one that raised the topic, though.
Yeah, the topic that Brian's raising is the performance of the referee.
But you can have a bad performance without it being a conspiracy. Anyway, Matt, let's get the Rangers side of things. How do you feel after that?
Oh, what a game. What an advert for Scottish football. Apart from Silver was blaming me and a pot and pallet, a tip of pot and pallet, and I've dragged him off by the net for the embarrassing carry on the way of diving about. Plus, the last call, I need to talk in his petty lip. And he's unmoaning about the referee. The referee chopped off a goal for Rangers, gave him a penalty. So how can you say Beaton was after mark? What a game it was. And this would never have happened if Michael Beale was in charge of Rangers. It's down to Clement putting the fight into the Rangers that they come back and got a draw today. Celtic should have finished that game in the first half. Burton had a couple of cracking saves, but Celtic supporters need to tuck their petty lips in and just got on with it.
So does that feel like a good result for you, Matt, just given where you were in the game?
Of course it was. To be 2-0 doing with Celtic, against Celtic, you fear that they're going to go on and win the league. But the fight back they done was amazing. And it's all down to the man management style at Clement. Never to give up. The players never to give up. You know what I mean? But what a game it was. It's a crying bit for Scottish football, because it was on Sky, a 3-3 game. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that was quite something. What did you make of it? 01419511025. If you call us now, we'll get you on next. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
Get up to £400 off selected Peloton bike and tread purchases and let our classes energise your day. That's school run easy after 20 minutes on the bike. Back-to-back meetings.
Sorry I'm late.
No problem after a yoga class. Power up with up to £400 off selected Peloton bike and tread purchases and make day-changing energy.
Offer ends 8th of April. Internet connection and Peloton all-access membership at £39 a month required to access Peloton content. Terms apply. See onepeloton.co.uk.
The games are over. The talking begins. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Maybe the dust is starting to settle at Ibrox after a very lively afternoon. It burst into life after 20 seconds when Dyson Maeda scored. We went deep into 98 and a bit, and it finished Rangers 3, Celtic 3. It was incredible. Jim Duffy's still at Ibrox as well. We'll bring him in for his thoughts. Richard is going to kick things off again on the phones. How do you look back on it, Richard?
Well, first of all, I really can't stand these games.
You're honest.
Like, it starts far too early. I don't mean in the day, but in just the week. But overall, I just wanted to say I think John Beaton's had a lot of pressure from Celtic fans, and I'm a Celtic fan, and I think he's done a really good job. Right, I know referees can make mistakes with the odds foul and people make up stats, to say that it influenced the game in one way or the other. So I've seen all that, the Graham Spears podcast and things like that. But I think he had a genuinely good game, and I actually felt sorry for him a lot of the time watching the game because he was having to make a call. But my overall impressions of the game is I'm really disappointed we didn't win. But before the game, I would have definitely taken a draw.
That's honest. And it's also honest of you to ignore all the nonsense about John Beaton. This is our flagship fixture. Celtic Rangers, Rangers Celtic is why Sky Television pay the money they pay to have our game live on TV. And after all the nonsense yesterday about dodgy pitches and the amount of sand thrown onto the pitch at Dens Park and artificial surfaces at Kilmarnock and at Livingston, the game televised badly yesterday. But this is why the money is paid. This is why they get all the attention. No other clubs in the country can put on what they put on today. And we should stand back and think, and I know it'll take us until tomorrow to do that probably, but we should stand back and think, what a game that was, and that's the equal of anything you'll see in the English Premier League.
It's summed up perfectly from Richard Mark. It's hard to really look at it any other way. Most Celtic fans, I think, would have taken a draw before the game, but at 2-0 up at half time, it could have been 4, it could have been 5. You're thinking party time, definite win. Let's see what that means for the title race and so on. So that's why this game is what it is, because you go through a roller coaster of emotions, not only in the 90 plus minutes, but in the week leading up. Would I take a draw? Would I not? Maybe. Yes, right, okay, I will. And then within the game,
I think any away game, Ibrox, of course you would settle for a draw. But I think with the whole story behind the way this season has gone for Celtic and the way that they've been playing, patchy in forms at time, Rangers, going in one direction under Clement, a draw then becomes an even better result, Ibrox. But you're right, when you're 2-0 up and you've got chance after chance and your team talk at half time's probably a bit more relaxed, it's probably just keep things going the way they're going, then when you concede that goal and you see the pressure coming at you and you get away with a point, you'll probably think tonight, tomorrow, that's a missed opportunity. But still a good point from a Celtic point of view. But you've got to give Philippe Clement credit. We were chatting about how many changes he could have made at half time, but the Rangers manager chose a critical one. Scott Wright didn't do much wrong, but he understood that Rangers needed a bit more width and a threat in behind, and he brought on Sima, and he got his reward for that. So Rangers changed the way they played. They pressed higher, and Celtic struggled with that. But I still believe when Brendan Rodgers analyses it in the next couple of days, he'll come away and think, that's still unbeaten against Rangers this season.
There's that, and I suppose this being a good result for Celtic, Gordon, hinges on the hope that Celtic beat Rangers in the game at Celtic Park. That's where that has to come from, because obviously if Rangers win their game in hand during the week, they go top.
I could be wrong. I've got a funny feeling it'll come down to Celtic Park. I think these two teams will kick on and go and win their games because it's that important to them. I've really enjoyed the day. I agree with Mark. I think Celtic should have been out of sight at half time, but all credit to Clement. He must have had a few strong words in that dressing room. He wanted a response. He made that substitution. Sima, come on, big player. I've been saying it all week, big player for Rangers. I thought he looked very good indeed, and it just went into, and I thought Rangers, like Celtic, without making as many chances, I think they dominated the second half, and we always knew there were going to be goals. But credit to Rodgers, he sends on Ida for Kyogo because he knew he had to get up the pitch. He gets a great goal, which you think, is that going to be the winner? But it was just one of those games that even up until the last minute you're still thinking something dramatic's going to happen, and it's credit to both teams.
I mean, Richard, who impressed you? We're not even getting to that level of detail because people are just so blown away by the outcome, but what about the performance then?
Well, obviously the first half is really good. I don't know, I'm finding it hard to take in. I'm just relieved that it's over, to be honest.
Richard sounds
shocked. I think from a Celtic point of view, particularly in the first half, I thought their midfield were really good, really in control, and I thought Maeda gave Tavernier a horrendous time. Now, the difference was in the second period, Celtic couldn't get control of the midfield. They couldn't get control of the ball to get it to Maeda or to get it behind Tavernier. So that threat slowly slipped away from Celtic, and more often not, you saw Rangers start to build it. Now, there's no doubt for me that the wind, the weather played a part in how that played out, because, as mentioned earlier, on that each team going towards that goal where Rangers finish, certainly had the stronger of their 45 minutes. But I think Clement just putting that across in the dressing room about how they changed the way they pressed Celtic made a huge difference to the overall outcome of that game. Because I think if they allowed Celtic that space in midfield, Celtic would have eventually picked them off and probably got a third. But just having that pressure constantly on that back line, they didn't allow Celtic to get out.
Thank you to Richard. Let's bring in Stephen, who's a Rangers fan in Ayrshire. How does that feel, Stephen?
Oh, what a game. What a game. You hear people on moaning about the ref. I thought the ref had probably the best game out between the two teams. He played brilliant.
He played brilliant.
Yeah. Do you know something? I'm glad that Stephen's come on and said
a brilliant performance. It was absolutely brilliant. Like, all week people have moaned about the ref this, the ref that, and he played. It was a brilliant performance from him. I thought he was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I'm glad Stephen's come on and recognised that, because he's come under a lot of pressure. That must have been a big game for him today. You know what I mean? He's getting scrutinised with every decision. Now, people talking about VAR. He took his time, he went to the monitor, he made his decisions. I think the three big calls he got spot on, Gordon. There was a couple of wee incidents that you could pick on. Fine, every referee's got to be down that road. I thought John Beaton, under the circumstances, handled that brilliantly today.
Stephen, given that Rangers trailed twice in the match and were 2-0 down at the break, as the cliche goes, does that feel like a win? Is that the sort of overriding emotion?
100%. Like, the first, I'm sitting obviously with my friend Scott here. In the first half, like, I've never seen that Rangers side this season. They were absolutely terrible. It should have been probably 3 or 4 in the first half for Celtic. But to come out, I thought Seema played absolutely brilliant. I thought it was a massive impact in the game. Matondo's goal was absolutely fantastic. The subs that Clement put on, it really impacted the game for me.
With fans coming on and saying, wow, and they can't quite compute everything as yet, that's testimony to just how great a game it was. And I've been racking my brains thinking, what was the other one that was as good as that? And I'm going back 39 years. Rangers 4, Celtic 4. And that, for me, what happened today is the best Rangers-Celtic game in the last 39 years. And that's the thing that I'm glad that people are coming round to that, because this game is all about division among supporters throughout the whole country. But instead of division, we're now getting unity. Unity created by the fact that people who support both teams can say, what a game of football that was.
Stephen saying it feels like a win. That often comes with the way it played out, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know what would be harder. What's harder to take from a Celtic point of view, the 2-0 up at half time and not winning, or getting that 3-2 when it looked like everything was against you and not holding on to that?
I think with the balance of playing that first 45 minutes, I think some of them will be kicking themselves over those chances, because that game could have been put to bed. Now, it takes a lot to dig in and score a third a minute after conceding the equaliser. So Brendan Rodgers, of course, again, will analyse it and think, could we have just, been a bit more defensive? You look at Matondo's goal's fantastic, by the way, but you look at how it came about. Yang showing him inside, whoever the Celtic player was inside him, not really closing that space down. So all these wee bits, that's what people, who will be involved in the game will analyse in their head over and over and over again tonight, while we all sit back and say what a spectacle it is. But it was there for Celtic. Being ahead 2-0 and then 3-2, they really had it in their grasp and they let it slip.
I think you can nitpick at all the goals, but I would rather go the positive and say, for instance, O'Reilly's penalty kick, under that circumstances, is brilliant. Great composure, everything about it. Tavernier's penalty kick, under the circumstances when he's having such a poor game, the responsibility to bring Rangers back into the game. Ida, I thought it was a terrific goal. And then Matondo, sums the game up with his goal at the end as well. I just think we had so much excitement today. As I keep going back to, usually the build-up to these games are better than the game actually itself. Today we had everything.
For once we can say, go on then, Man United and Liverpool, go on, top that.
So do you take more from the character in the comeback, Stephen, than you do from how bad the first half was? Does that worry you at all?
I think we set it back in the first half. I think the Rangers players, they let the occasion maybe get in their head, a lot of nerves. But I thought when obviously we went into half time, I thought maybe Vermont told them straight what was happening. I thought when they came out in the second half, you seen a different team. You seen the belief in the team, and then it was a different game altogether. And then when the subs came on, it was as a better team to watch. And I thought they played some better football. I thought Lundstrom probably didn't play his best game. Lawrence, and I took off maybe earlier, Tavernier had a really poor game. For these players of such importance, of poor games, to get a 3-3 draw, I thought we'd done very, very well. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because the tone was set ludicrously early, 20 seconds mark. So that will never, you can't measure it, the impact that had on Rangers and how much that fed into the first half. And then similarly, when Rangers scored the first in the second half, is that the bit that knocks the stuffing out of Celtic?
Oh, you can tell. I mean, we've said it all day, goals do change games, and that penalty, that Tavernier's goal just changed the whole dynamic of how Celtic were looking at that period. I thought actually Celtic started in those opening minutes, the second half, okay. Thought again they looked quite in control. Rangers, remember, were rushing at that stage, misplacing passes, trying to get quick throw-ins. But you score a goal and all of a sudden the Celtic players know it's going to be one-way traffic coming at them, so they know they need to change the way they play. Just an absolute terrific encounter. It must have been a roller coaster. If you're a player on that pitch for both sides, if you're a Rangers player at half time, you've performed poorly. Interestingly enough, I'm reading Philip Clement this morning, the newspaper, saying that he called for calm heads, and it was anything but calm from Rangers in the first. In fact, you saw Tavernier in 22 seconds saying that his goalkeeper calmed down, and he forgot that Maeda was running in to nip in. So after that, Rangers were all over the place, but they regained composure when Tavernier scored and put Celtic under considerable pressure, and that's how they end up with 3 goals in the second half.
Yeah, thanks to Stephen. 01419511025. We're here until 4 o'clock today. You can watch the live stream as well, which we don't often do at the weekend. So join in however you feel like and let us know your thoughts.
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Gordon DL, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins are all here. It was quite the afternoon at Ibrox. I can't imagine there's anyone hearing these words who didn't see it or hasn't heard, but for some reason you had a very good excuse. It finished 3-3, and that doesn't even scratch the surface on the amount of talking points we have today. So keep them coming on the phones. We are on Twitter as well. I love this from Daz. He sent a picture from Yosemite National Park where he's got his iPad set up. It's -2 degrees, and it was 4 minutes past 4 in the morning when he sent it. He says, how's the heating in the Clyde SSB studio? To some people it's just a game, to others it's a way of life. Clearly.
Absolutely. A global way of life. Anywhere you go in the world you'll find Celtic and Rangers fans, and that they are up at all sorts of times of the night and day to watch this match, and today's match made it all worthwhile. And the fact of the matter is, we still can't work out who is now favourite to win the league. All we know is we've witnessed a classic, and it's what Celtic and Rangers do in other matches before they get to each other at Celtic Park. That's important. Celtic at home to St Mirren, who yesterday lost but made the top 6. They can play in a relaxed fashion at Celtic on Saturday. And you've got to be dependable. Rangers have got to be dependable at Dens Park on Wednesday on that awful, awful surface. And it's now about maintaining a 100% record until we get to Celtic Park. And oh my, if we talk about spectacles, what about a game at Celtic Park that might decide the league title?
Thomas is on the line. As a Celtic fan then, Thomas, are you taking the positives from that one today, or does it feel a bit sore?
No, I'm taking the positives there. To me, it was important we came out without losing that match. Our players, the players that we've been missing this season that are starting to come back, you're starting to see the difference in the performances the past couple of weeks. And by the next time we play Rangers, the guys will be dialed in. This will show that's Rangers will have no 45 minutes to expect to that, mere 70 minutes, and then the game maybe change. So I'm happy with it. I'm not convinced Rangers can go to Dundee and win either, because that pitch is atrocious. So I'm all happy. That as long as we didn't lose today, I'm over the moon.
Wednesday's massive, no doubt about it. We'll get on to that in the coming days. Mark, did that first half show? Because I know Rangers were bad, and we've gone over that. But at times this season, it's been maybe easy to forget how good a sort of footballing side Celtic can be when they're at it. You see that in the first half?
Yeah, without doubt. I mean, I think you just add Hatate, and he adds so much to your team, so much control. He always looked for that forward pass, and I think you saw that in 45 minutes. Thought he was excellent. I think O'Reilly likes playing with him in there as well. You can see both of them. Even when Carter Vickers has the ball, they're both looking for each other, which spaces to move into. So if you take one of them out, it affects the side. You take McGregor out as well, it has a detrimental effect on the side. Now, Thomas is right in a way that Hatate, if he avoids other injuries, he'll have more games under his belt. McGregor may be back to full speed to, you'd imagine, would replace Iwata. So that's going to be crucial for both teams. Who stays fit, who gets back up to full speed for this running. But there's no doubt that Kyogo, Maeda, all those front guys prefer when they've got Hatate in that midfield, and a fully fit one is one of the best midfielders in Scotland.
I can't disagree with that. I thought that he made such a difference even last week at Livingston for 65 minutes. He gets 63 today. He's a fantastic talent, fantastic footballer, and when you play with better players, it makes you a better player. I think Rangers in the same boat. I thought when Seema come on at half time, I thought he made such a difference. I think Rangers had a lift from that. I think he looked sharper. I thought he contributed more. So I think that by the time we get to Celtic Park, if both teams are at their strongest, we might get another 3-3 game.
The intriguing one is Callum McGregor. I think he looked miles off it today. He was involved in one of Rangers' goals because of a faulty pass, and I just don't think that he's anything like up to match speed. And I'd be very interested to see if he plays any part in the game against
To be honest with you, Hugh, I think if Celtic were still leading that game 2-0, I don't think they'd have used
that's
McGregor.
The problem, isn't it? It felt like the obvious thing
had to
do,
get him on.
Because it was like, all right, well, we need who are you going to turn to bring a bit of calm? And
they were losing control at that stage, Celtic, in the midfield area in particular. They needed someone like him there to keep possession. But ironically, it's his pass, like Hugh says, that leads to that goal.
What does today do for that title race, Thomas?
The advantage to us. So I'm confident that we're going to go on and win the double this year. We're just coming into prime at the right time. Big Ange loves doing this, but he's not here anymore, God help us. But I think that we're just all our players that we really need are going to come back for the running. I totally agree with what you said about McGregor there. I think he came on and did more for appearance sake, just to try and calm it down. You've seen he was off a year that for everything he'd done today. So, but that will be different by the next time we play Rangers. But there'll be tough games in between them. But I think with that going to Ibrox, scoring 3 goals with no fans there, I think we'll put the fear of God into Rangers.
Thomas, you're not a little bit harsh on Brendan Rodgers there? I mean, he's now 1 defeat in 16 against Rangers. No. He played Rangers 3 times this season, has yet to lose. So Ange is gone, it's past, done. I
know, but the fans still want that kind of football, Hugh. And Brendan's saying he hasn't changed anything, so it should still be the same now.
I think that's a bit unfair. I thought Celtic first 45 today were excellent. I did. I thought some of the football they played was very, very good. So yeah, I can understand a lot of Celtic fans. I've heard this argument before. It's not the same. They're not as excited, but I think today, especially first half, Celtic were very, very good.
Is that what it has to be, Mark? If you're looking at positives to take, that notion that 3 head-to-heads and for all the praise Rangers have had since Philippe Clement came in, he has had 2 cracks at it, and again there's always a caveat. The first one was quite early on in his time, and that one was at Celtic Park. But today's Ibrox still not managed to beat Celtic in a head-to-head this season.
Yeah, and that's what they need to do if they're going to win this league. If Celtic go through undefeated against Rangers, I'd find it very difficult to believe that they wouldn't win the title, and it'd be a huge failure on Celtic's part.
But then you say that, and if Rangers win their game in hand, they're top of the table, having not beaten Celtic in 3 games this season.
Yeah, but Celtic again have the opportunity to then overtake them when they're Celtic Park. I understand what you're saying, but look, Brendan Rodgers is a man for this occasion. He knows how to navigate this fixture very, very well. For Clement, you're right, it was all going in one direction, that this was the biggest one to come along, and it was a real good opportunity for him. Yeah, he's not won this one. Okay, thanks to Thomas. I did say, you pointed out with the last tweeter from Yosemite National Park. Grant says he watched the game at Melbourne Rangers Supporters Club, and after the penalty, the link cut out. It came back on as Dessers is away celebrating, and then it went back off as play resumed after being disallowed. So what a stressful afternoon those guys and girls must have had. Let's bring in Graham in Bells Hill. What's the feeling from your Rangers perspective, Graham?
Hi Gordon, hi gents. I'm just leaving the game just now on my way back. I think that the way that the result happened today might be masking this, and perhaps we need to let the dust settle. But I actually want to call out, and I'm going to commit a bit of a cardinal sin here. I want to call out that Clement made a mistake today with his team selection at the start of the game. We shouldn't be having to pull that back like that. I think there were certain players in that team that he mentioned midweek that were fit but wouldn't give us 90 minutes. People like Seema, and also he was talking about the difference between Lawrence and Cantwell, who would get the shirt. I think he made a mistake with both decisions. You should go out. We're at home. We should go out to try and get that lead rather than having to make drastic changes and pull it back. So everybody's happy with the result given where we were. We were 2-0 down. That was the point I'm trying to make. We were 2-0 down because I think the selection was wrong, and I do think I have to call it out.
Yeah, I said all week in the show, and it was only my opinion, that I think Seema's such a big player for Rangers. Now, the question mark was Cantwell, Lawrence. I know a lot of Rangers, and I think Mark highlighted it on Thursday as well. He went for Lawrence. I don't mind that, but I do agree slightly, and it's hard to criticise the Rangers manager because his half-time team talk today, substitutions, turned the game a little bit, and they get out there with a point. But I just think in a game as important as that, Seema for me would have been 60, 65 minutes. I think he's a big player. Before he got injured, he was massive for Rangers. He was, creating chances. He was scoring goals. Everything about him. He was really settling into his Rangers career. I know he had a long-term injury there, but he had 10-15 minutes against Hibs. These games carry you. I would have went with Seema. Now, whether people will be sitting in their cars and listening to this going, well, Lawrence is better than Cantwell, Cantwell's better than Lawrence, that's up to the manager. But I think if I'm going to criticise him and say, did they get anything wrong? In my opinion, I'd have went with Seema at the beginning.
I wonder the extent to which the 21-second goal, James Tavernier off Dyson Maeda, you wonder the extent to which that affected the players on the park. The team selection would not have been a topic of discussion until that happens, and all of a sudden James Tavernier, and you would never start a Rangers game without James Tavernier, even he was all over the shop after being involved in the loss of that goal. So Graham is perfectly entitled to call out the manager. He's not a protected species, but I just wonder the extent to which the start to the game knocked everyone on the Rangers side a bit off the ball.
Graham, what does this do for the title race, this result?
I think I have to be honest and say the momentum's on the opposite side of the city now, to be honest with you. I think because obviously we need to go there. I mean, we have to turn up and have Hearts of Lions that we didn't have in that first 45. I'm more nervous about some of the away games that we might have before we go to Parkhead, to be honest with you. But obviously as well, we'll need to see how the split lands. I don't know what the connotations are with who's going where. I don't know if Celtic maybe need to go to Killie, which is a tough place for them to go. I don't know if you can confirm that, but there might be difficult games for both before we get to Parkhead, but it just feels like it slipped out of our hands, whereas a win today, I felt we were in command, and that's why I feel down.
I'm glad Graham mentioned that, because I feel we're we should know better. I'm not saying it won't happen, but we're slipping into acting like it's automatic that they'll both win every game.
Yeah.
Until they meet at Celtic Park. I'm not sure.
Well, for example, I'm not convinced they will.
Celtic have lost twice to Hearts this season, and they've lost to Kilmarnock. 9 points.
Twice to Kilmarnock as well, no?
One was a League Cup game.
I think they have to go to Rugby Park, Celtic. I'm sure they do.
But so there you have two games, for example. 9 points have been lost to Kilmarnock and to Hearts this season. So it's not necessarily Celtic Park or on whichever date it's to be after the split. It's for both teams, and Graham's brought Rangers into this argument as well. It's about what you do in the other games. Don't be obsessing on Celtic Park and the visit of Rangers. Celtic, if they are sent to Kilmarnock, will have to be very, very careful. If they have to go to Tynecastle, they've only recently lost there.
But Rangers as well, it's the same. Rangers have lost 5 times this season. I know 2 of them against Celtic, but I was never convinced. I've said it over months. People were building this one up. It's whoever wins against each other will win the league. It's everything in between that's sometimes the more difficult. I know it because I've been there. I go back to the time we went up to Inverness Cally Thistle, and all we had to do was go and win our other games, and we slip up and the title was gone with a blink of an eye, just like that. So both teams should be well aware of the challenge that lie in front of them.
That was your fault and everybody else's fault, apart from Chris Commons.
That's the very one, you're right.
Thank you very much to Graham. Keep them coming. We're here for another hour. 01419511025. We don't often do this. In fact, we never do it at the weekend, but you can actually watch the live stream as well. So if you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or whatever it may be, tune in, see these three. They're not looking great, neither am I, but what can you do? So give us a call and we'll try and get you on next.
It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line. 0141 951 1025.
What a day we've had so far. 6 goals, various talking points, and this title race is getting harder and harder to predict by the day. 01419511025 to get your thoughts in, and we're not too far away from bringing you thoughts of the managers, which will be interesting listening as always, I am sure. Get your calls over for Hugh Keevans, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel, just like Stephanie has done in Bishop Briggs. How are you feeling after that, Stephanie? Calm down yet?
Hello, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm a massive fan of the show. Love you all, especially Gordon Dalziel and Mark Wilson. I'm a big fan.
No offence, Hugh. Yeah, should have left Mark Wilson out of that and you'd have had a great start.
Right, well, Stephanie, it must have been quite a day if it made you call in then. What did you take away from it?
Honestly, I think it's just because I watched the show so much, and I felt like today, a massive Celtic fan, I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to put that out there right now. Sorry, Rangers fans, for listening. But I feel like it's a little bit my fault. I'm very superstitious. I would have taken a draw before the game all day long, but I went into the kitchen because my daughter she's 10 months old and she was crying because of the nerves and the shouting and stuff. And I took her out the kitchen, and Rangers scored and equalised for the three each, and I've never seen it. So I kind of feel like it's my fault. I'm very superstitious and I'm a wee bit disappointed in that.
It may well be your fault. We're always looking for somebody to blame. It's either John Beaton or Stephanie from Bishop Briggs, or alternatively a 10-month-old baby.
Had you gone into the kitchen, Stephanie, to hide? You couldn't watch anymore?
I have. I think she's in watching something else now, and I'm hiding away so that I can talk to you. But I just wanted to know, what did you think of the Rangers penalty? Did you think it was a penalty?
Yeah, when I seen it,
Stephanie loves you here, but
yeah,
I think she's about to change her
I think
mind.
we're going to fall out here. When I seen it first, I thought John Beaton, when he booked Silva for diving, I thought he got it right, Gordon. I've got to be honest. But when I seen it over again, I think Alistair Johnston does catch him. I think it's high, and I think that he got the decision correct. I thought it was a penalty kick, yes.
No, I'm on your side, Stephanie. I wasn't convinced. Again, having seen it a couple of times, just getting the contact on the ball was enough for me to think Alistair Johnson had done his job. I don't think it's an outrageous decision from John Beaton to award the penalty, but it's very subjective at that point. I think for me, I didn't think it was a penalty.
At first I thought he dived, out and out dive, and so did John Beaton, because he booked him, Fabio Silva. But when you get a second look, as John Beaton did as well, I think that Alistair Johnson is prone to rash tackling inside the box and prone to being rash in general inside the box. I know everyone loves him because he likes a challenge and all the rest of it, but I think on second glance at it, I think he's filled them.
A few people asking, and we'll get Brendan Rodgers' take on it as well. I suspect he agrees with Mark Wilson. Just to kind of knock something on the head, lots of Rangers fans particularly tweeting saying Alistair Johnson should have been shown a second yellow. That was never really going to happen for one completely factual reason. VAR doesn't give out second yellows, so there you are, you forget that straight away. But also now remember a couple of years ago when the double jeopardy sort of thing changed, and everything then sort of got scaled back. So what used to be a red in the box became a yellow, and what used to be a yellow in the box became nothing, unless John Beaton had felt that it was a particularly reckless tackle, which I don't think people would think that it was. So never really, and I know we don't agree on much, so I'm not expecting everyone to take that in the chin, but that was never really going to end in a second yellow. But
I think
anyway,
it's Stephanie's baby's fault, really.
Yeah.
Because if the baby hadn't started to cry, Stephanie wouldn't have left the room. Stephanie hadn't left the room, then it wouldn't have been an equaliser.
Can Andrew get that message across to Brendan Rodgers?
I'm sure, yeah.
It's not your fault.
Stephanie's baby.
Stephanie, will Celtic go on and win the league from here?
I really hope so. I've got faith. I've got faith that we will do it. I think the big thing is let's just be clear now. Rangers haven't beat us this season, so Celtic have really shot themselves in the foot, to be honest. With it's the other games, Hearts, Kilmarnock. I really think obviously at the end of the day, if we win all our games, we'll win the league.
Well,
but that's no easy feat.
It is not, because the top six split means it's going to be against those very teams.
Yes, exactly.
So we'll look forward to it for sure. Thank you to Stephanie. And I think you don't even need, sometimes words won't do, just that sort of
she's had an exciting
that
day,
noise
Stephanie.
just sums up the way many people are feeling, I'm sure. But anyway, we're going to hear from the manager very soon, I promise you. Thanks to Stephanie. I don't know, I like this notion that you can just put it all down to somebody breaking their superstition.
Yeah.
All that build up that we go through and it's all out the window. Let's bring in Stevie in Balornock. Stevie, how are you?
Follow Glasgow Rangers.
Right, okay. I'm happy then with the outcome.
Yeah, fuckstick.
I've genuinely got no idea what's.
I don't know what that's.
I think you should maybe just leave Stevie to himself for the rest of the day.
He's having a great old Sunday.
Yeah.
Is he, Stevie?
I've got no idea what's going on, quite frankly. But he's gone. That was it.
Yeah.
I didn't really catch
That was his big moment.
much of that.
Short point from Stevie.
I don't even know about the tune. Just to pick him
Nah,
up.
he was off tune there, I think.
I don't know.
A Motherwell fan? Do you think he's even Celtic or Rangers fan?
I think Stevie's been enjoying his
I bet he's
afternoon.
got, what's the rest of that song?
What was the score today? Anybody see the game?
It's 10 past
What are we
3.
playing?
Stevie may have had a cocktail or two.
Yeah.
Anyway, we move on. If you've got more to add than that, and I hope you do, it's 01419511025. I mean, where does that game compare to some of the others that you've seen in the fixture? We could talk bigger picture if you want. Scott and Irvine, I think, is going to join us on the line next, although my magic screen is doing strange things in front of me. But we will get another call lined up very soon.
Always remember, you'd said about 4-4. You remember the other 3-3 game at Ibrox as well? So Van Hooijdonk scored around about that era. That reminded me a bit, of that game. Just one of the best I've witnessed. And I played in plenty. 2-2 game that I was involved in at Ibrox was a fantastic encounter. But I think what we witnessed today had just a bit of everything in it, and then it ended with a big rammy that the commentators have to say nobody likes to see, but we all like to see. Yeah, so
I'm just thinking about Adam Ida. When Adam Ida made it 3-2, he's thinking,
I'm never buying a pint again.
I have just entered Celtic folklore. And the reaction of the Celtic bench, I think they thought, we've done it. 1-3-2.
Well, you've got to, when was that? 87th minute that goal went in, something around it. When you score in the 87th minute
for the third time,
you've got to think that shoe done and dusted and away with the 3 points. So an incredible dramatic end to the game, which, well, everything was dramatic from 20 seconds in. Everything from then to the 98th minute was full of drama.
John's and shots, what do you make of it, John?
Well, the first 30 seconds of the game, I'm Unbelievable. But I thought Vermont should have set up the team better in many ways. For Goulson, I think he's lacking it as a defender. I think he's tired. And Tavernier, I don't know what happened with Tavernier. Unbelievable the first half. It was unbelievable.
Well, Tavernier, being a human being, got it all wrong at the first goal. He was too slow to react. And then he's hit it off Diaz Almeida. And Goulson, you can't argue, he went up in such a way that the referee had no option, having had a look at it on VAR, but to give a penalty to Celtic. I think that ridiculous start to the match affected Rangers for more than half of the first half. But second half, the game just turned on its head, and it was Celtic's turn to look uncomfortable.
The notion that Clement got it wrong, I don't know how that works, Gordon, because Connor Goldson was starting this game
all day
every
long.
day of the week. No debate about that. Not looked that clever against Celtic this season. Is that fair?
I think Goulson probably in the last few months has had his worst performances for Rangers. He's come in for a little bit of criticism, something that we never heard of Goulson. He was always steady as a rock. He used to hit those lovely diagonal passes. They've all gone. He's maybe just gone through a hard time at this moment in time. You look at Tavernier today, right? First half, Maeda had him in toast, right? Had him in toast. He was having an absolute nightmare. Got off to a terrible start. But where I like Tavernier is to stand up there with that composure and that penalty kick when it was so important, because he misses that. I don't think there's any way back for Rangers. So he stands up there and it's a terrific penalty and he builds his way into the game. I think Goulson looked a bit edgy, and even when Ida come on, gave him a wee bit of a hard time. And I think Goulson's not had his greatest moments just now. He's a good player, Goulson, good experienced player. He's maybe just going through a rough patch for me, and the Rangers fans are starting to sense that and maybe pick on him a little bit more than he's ever had. Now they come off right at the end of the game. I don't know why that was for Balogun. So I don't know if he's carrying a wee knock or whatever it may be.
Everybody has a shelf life, don't they? There's no doubt Goulson has been a tremendous servant for Rangers and a good player over the years, much like Barisic. But you just wonder if it's coming to the end for him. You know, Philippe Clement will have his own ideas how he wants his centre halves to play, but I think in the big games, you're right in pointing out, I think he has struggled against Celtic. He has struggled against the movement of Kyogo. Daz is right though, when Ida comes on and you think, well, it's going to be a wee bit more a physical challenge, maybe that suits him. I don't think he dealt with it particularly well either. Like for the goal, the penalty he concedes, it's not much you can do. It's a definite penalty. So within that, but in terms of the way Clement set up, by the way, I was interested in how they pressed Celtic in the first half, and I don't think they did. I think they sat off and allowed Celtic to play, and they got punished for it. But I think when he changed to go right for Celtic, and you've seen it particularly in goal kicks, they had Lawrence right up there at the edge of the box alongside Dessers, alongside their front players. That's where Rangers started to get a wee bit of a grip of the game. So there was definitely a change in that, and the personnel when Sima came on, of course. So, you know, people are calling up and saying he maybe didn't attack the game the right way. Maybe they've got a bit of a case. As good as Celtic were in that 45 minutes, maybe if they went about it a different way, you might have got a different result.
John, did you think Rangers were going to win this one going into today? Were you one of those that was really confident? Do you feel a bit deflated because that didn't happen, or can that be a good point?
Now listen, I'm an old one. I'm 44 now, right? I played a lot of football, believe me. And I played to 1.5 of the Old Firm, right? I'm not going to mention the name. Right?
John Hartson, is that you? Sound different.
No.
Thanks for clearing that up.
No. As I say, I thought we came into the game today, we were going to win it. The first half were diabolical. I was a defender myself, right? Played a lot of football in my old time, you know. One at Sire Select. Played with a few teams. Not going to mention that.
Wikipedia, John.
Is this international man of mystery?
Exactly. But he's not going to mention
shots. John said he thought Rangers were going to win the game. I sometimes think that your post-match feelings are dictated to by your pre-match expectations. Maybe this one's different because so much happened within the game. But I don't know, can that be a deflating factor for Rangers, who maybe thought this was a really good opportunity to go and get that win?
I think the vast majority, into the 90s, 95% of the Rangers fans thought that they were going to win that game today. And I think 95% of the Celtic supporters were tentative. I won't say that they thought Celtic would definitely lose the game, but they were hesitant about the whole afternoon. And I think that the Celtic supporters will regard the result today as better for them than the Rangers supporters will regard it in that vein for Rangers. Celtic remain top. Rangers surely will beat Dundee midweek, and it will be what they do against other teams, and then we'll worry about the Celtic Rangers game at Celtic Park and the effect that has on the outcome of the title race. But I think the Celtic supporters in the main thought that they might not get anything out of Ibrox today, and 95% of Rangers supporters thought they would get everything out of Ibrox today.
No, that's quite fair. You've got to say, just because of the way Clement has changed Rangers and the way they've been from January until now, and Celtic stumbling along the way. So I think, no doubt about it, if you go to Ibrox, or it's the same, if Rangers went to Celtic Park and come out with a draw, if you get out with a draw, it's seen as a result that's fine. So Rodgers, looking back at it, will probably
be a mixed bag, Mark. You're sitting there 2-0 up at half time. You've dominated the first 45. You're basically disappointed because you've not put the game to bed. And even the Rangers fans coming on the phone in tonight, they're saying that the game could have been away from Rangers. So for me, at 12 o'clock you're thinking, just keep us, we'll take a point, we'll move on, because we're going to Ibrox. Rangers don't lose a lot of games there under Clement, no fans. So at half time, after that, you're thinking the 3 points are ours, and then it's taken away, and a terrific fight back from Rangers.
Well, John was on for the Rangers perspective, and we thank him for it. Let's bring you the Rangers manager. Here's what he had to say.
So it's the worst scenario you can have in an Old Firm game, to go behind after 1 minute, also in the way we went behind. So that's a big blow at that moment, for the team, for the fans, for everything. Afterwards, we didn't go down, but we were not good enough on the ball. It was also a special situation today with the wind. It was difficult to play really, really good combination play, but we didn't manage to do enough. We had a few chances still in the first half to score. Celtic had also a few. It's a pity because this thing comes back. I think every manager in the world, every player in the world wants this rule to be changed, because I know with the rule it's penalty now, but if a ball is brought in at that speed in front of a goal and it's touched by the head and it's deflected and you jump up, and that moment you see that it's deflected, you want to take your arm away, but it touches your arm. With the rules now, it's penalty, so nothing to say about decision of referee or VAR or anything. But everybody who's playing football says too many penalties are given in that way, without there's a good purpose for it. So that's frustrating to go 0-2 into halftime. It could have been 1-2. Then you hope in that way to stay in the game. And then the second half we showed our real face. I think we showed the real things that I want to see. This never stopping team that has a lot of resilience, that has a lot of hunger, desire to change the results, to do the right things, to create chances, not to give away chances. And then it became a really, for you guys, crazy scenario. For us, the scenario that I wanted. Not with the 2-2 and then the 2-3, of course. But we deserve, and clearly deserve, at least a point today.
What do you think? That's what Philippe Clement makes of it, but give us your thoughts right now if you can on 0141951 1025.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dale are here at Clyde One HQ in Clyde Bank, and we're going to bring in a man, Alan, who's in Sacramento, California. No difference. What did it look like from over there, Alan?
Well, it was dark weather-wise, but we're starting to warm up over here, which is nice. But one of the things is we talk about referees and we talk about VAR and all those things. I mean, even the panel that are sitting in front of you can't come to a conclusion after watching multiple replays. When I saw it from over here, I'm not really talking to the pundits, I'm talking to the players. But when you're playing, if you go in for a tackle and you hit the ball first and then the player falls over your leg, the referee again got it right on the field and the VAR stepped in order to change it. Alistair Johnston did make contact with the ball. The player ran in, which he had done through the entire game, fell over his leg and rolled around for a little while, and he got it. I think the referee got it right on the game. During the regular game, VAR got it wrong. And even the pundits or even the players in your own studio can't come to a conclusion on that.
But VAR didn't get it wrong, Alan. The referee went over, examined what was in front of him on the monitor and changed his mind.
I agree with what you're saying, but he's only got 2 or 3 seconds, and the pressure is immense. The person that's sitting in VAR has a multitude of time. He has maybe 2 minutes, 1-2 minutes to be able to call that play back, and he doesn't. The question I'm asking you is if you go in and make a challenge and you hit the ball first and then the player falls over your leg afterwards, is that a foul?
I said it before, I think the bit that's difficult in this, without opening another can of worms, how great would it be? Just phone up John Beaton and he explains it, or Nick Walsh. This is not me saying I think it's right or wrong, far from it, but in response to Alan's description of it, when you fall over someone's leg, fine. Falling over a leg that is raised as high as Alistair Johnston's was is probably the bit that's attracted the referee's attention. To repeat, for the avoidance of doubt, I'm not saying that means I think it's a penalty, but that is probably the bit that makes it different from Alan's description of falling over a leg, because the leg was high.
The leg caught, his foot caught him in just above the knee, just round about the knee area, which means his leg's high. Now, I totally agree. When I seen it at first, real time, I thought the referee got it right. Booking, yellow card, it's another dive because he was doing it all game. It was a bit embarrassing, I've got to say. But VAR intervened, and I think John Beaton did take enough time. I thought John Beaton handled the game very well. Took his time, went over to the monitor, and honestly, I know that people will argue, because I totally take that on board. I thought he changed his mind and got it correct.
Well, my opinion on it, I mean, from a right back's point of view, I have to put myself in those shoes, and if I'm Alistair Johnson there, I think I've got myself in a wee bit of hole, but I've decided to commit myself to the tackle to win the ball. And in my opinion, when you get contact on the ball first to divert it out for a corner kick, I've done my job. Now, I don't think I could see the contact after it, I could see the leg was high, but surely that's a byproduct of making contact with the ball first and making the tackle. That's just my opinion. So again, I don't think it was a dive. There was contact, there was sufficient contact for Silva then to go down, but the bit for me is important, Bart, is the bit before it where the tackle's made and there's clear contact on the ball that changes direction. So that's where I feel
But can Silva still not get the ball? Where I'm looking at this, I might have to look at it again. I think Silva still can get that ball, right?
After the challenge, it's hard to see from the angles, but it's not like Alistair Johnston gets that much on it that it takes it away from him. I take your point. I don't know. Maybe. So you think, Alistair Johnston gets the ball, but he then raises the foot to bring Silva down. Is that what you think?
And I think that's what's made up John Beaton's mind. I think if it's low and he trips over him, I don't think he's going to get a penalty. It's the height of where Johnston's foot is.
The trouble with players like Fabio Silva, players who dive as much as he does, is that when they are innocent, then you sometimes have a controversy because it happens so often with them that you can't make up your mind. But having taken a second look at it, then John Beaton was in no doubt that he had to review the situation and give the penalty.
So you think that cost Celtic today, Alan?
I think it was evenly a draw. I think Celtic were really good in the first half. Rangers were really good in the second, which brings up a second question. Do you think Brendan Rodgers has been out-coached in Clement? Like, when he comes in and makes such great changes and Rodgers doesn't? I mean, do you think that Rodgers has been out-coached in these games?
On the basis that Philippe Clement has met Brendan Rodgers twice and Brendan Rodgers has yet to lose, then I think that allegation is unfounded. Here's a simple thing for you. If Brendan Rodgers wins his next 6 games, he wins the league. It's as simple as that. We can come at this from any angle you like about this, that and the other. If Brendan Rodgers wins the next 6 games, Celtic win the league.
The thing about being out-coached, I think both managers make good decisions today. Celtic changed Kyogo. Ida come on, scored. Sima come on at half-time. I thought Rangers looked better. Matondo come on as a sub, got the equaliser. So I think it was two managers going head-to-head today, and they got a lot of things right.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're going to give Philippe Clement credit for making a change, what about Brendan Rodgers credit for having his team 2-0 up in the first place?
Yeah.
I do wonder, Mark, like, teams were always going to make substitutions. It happens. Who could have predicted that Callum McGregor would come on and make a mistake, an uncharacteristic one? You add that to Yang. Did he really cover himself in glory when he came on?
Looked a bit lightweight, Yang.
Adamida, credit to him, you'd have to say.
So that was a good change,
and
I've got to
Bernardo.
say, because I think Bernardo, who plays a pass for Ida, but I thought Ida was a sensible one, just with the flow of the game, the way it was going. Celtic couldn't get out, they couldn't put together those nice little patterns they were doing in the first half. So you need a bit of presence up front, and it paid off. So Rodgers got that spot on. They were always going to give up chances in that second half, because Rangers couldn't be any poorer than they were in the first half. But it's funny to say, because I don't really think Rangers were really good in the second half. I thought Celtic were very good in the first half, the way that they passed their way through Rangers at times. But I thought Rangers just, what was impressive about them was just that will to get back in it and putting Celtic under pressure high up the pitch. That's how they got their rewards. Got to say, the equalising goal though is the pick of the bunch. So fair play to Matondo on that one. But both managers got things right on the day.
Thank you to Alan, all the way from Sacramento, California. Let's hear Brendan Rodgers' take on it all.
Well, it was a fantastic game to be involved in. Super proud of the team. I thought how we played and managed the occasion in the first half was absolutely brilliant. Could have been more comfortable in the game. Some of the level of our football, we attacked with the ball, attacked without it, and could have been more comfortable by half time. Disappointed with the penalty. That gives them a little up in the game whenever we were clearly the much better team. Ali, who's on a booking, he has to be really careful in the second half with his timing of his tackles, and I thought he was perfect with it. And I thought the referee got it absolutely right on the field. He connected with the ball. The player simulates, and it was right. So clearly then they score the penalty. It gets to 2-1, and then you expect something from Rangers. But they obviously get a deflected goal as well to take it to 2 each. And then you've then got to dig in and show your heart and show your desire as well as your football. And then we get the third goal, fantastic goal by Adam, and trying to see it through, and then Matondo scores a brilliant goal. So, but the whole thing was leaving here today with the performance, and still with everything in our hands. And I think what we showed today was that the level of our football, players coming back to fitness, how we could deal with pressure, manage the pressure, and so proud of the team.
Well, I think that's the telling phrase there, telling 2 words: manage pressure, because that is Celtic's objective now. Celtic have 6 games remaining. They have Rangers at Celtic Park among those 6 games. If Celtic win all 6 games, they are the title winners. That's the pressure. That's what they have to manage.
His team, he's right, he's spot on. He should be proud of his team, because how they manage that. You think about how difficult that is to go to Ibrox. Not many teams go there and win, but with 50,000 Rangers fans on that occasion, to come up against that and to have the composure that they showed in the first half, in little pockets in the second half, but mainly in the first half, he should be pleased. And look, I agree with him. Many won't. Daz doesn't, Hugh doesn't, about the penalty kick. I think Johnson does time it well enough and gets contact in the ball, so he will be disappointed in that. But he didn't dwell on that too long before moving on to the spectacle itself, and much of the things he says was spot on.
It's not surprising that two managers have come out and disputed the penalty kicks. I thought that both decisions were correct, Gordon, I've got to say. But listening to Brendan Rodgers there, I think he'll look at that first half and be very disappointed, because he should have had the game put to bed. I really do. I thought some of the football they played was excellent at times, created a few chances. I know Rangers had a couple of half chances, Silva at the end, and probably Golson should do a little bit better with the set play with the header from the corner kick. But Celtic dominated most of that first half. And then obviously all credit to Clement. I thought whatever he said at half time certainly worked. They got at Celtic, they changed their tactics. Sima come on, he was a big difference, and he makes that substitution, Matondo. We know he's got it in his locker, and it turns out a terrific goal.
I think the only way that Celtic are culpable in the first half is Maeda. Maeda should have scored. He was a sitter. He had the whole goal gaping. I don't blame Matt O'Reilly. He had a fantastic header. Goalkeepers made a superlative save. Hatate, wonderful attempt, just past the post. That happens. The only way that Celtic can blame themselves for not being further in front at half time is one miss from Maeda.
Let's bring in George for the Rangers perspective. Take it away, George.
Hi guys. I'm just looking actually to defend John Beaton for his performance today. I've obviously heard a lot of Celtic fans come in saying it's not a penalty and stuff, but looking at it, I agree with you, and like he says, I think John Beaton was left in a unwinnable situation this weekend to be the referee for this game. But if the Celtic fans are saying that it's not a penalty, then surely the foul in the lead up to the Rangers goal that get chopped off isn't a foul either, because it's the exact same type of foul. So you can't have one no being a foul and one being a foul. But I do think John Beaton has got all the big decisions right today. I mean, Celtic got their penalty, which is a penalty. Rangers got their penalty, that is a penalty. And the goal get chopped off for a foul, which is a foul. So I just think he's taking a bit of unnecessary stick, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm always wary about comparing incidents, because I'm never convinced they are exactly the same. You know, the Tom Lawrence on the Wata in the lead up to the goal, is that the exact same as Alistair Johnson's challenge? I'm not sure it is.
I think Johnson gets a touch of the ball. I don't think Lawrence did get a touch of the ball. So that's the difference I saw, which makes one a foul and one no.
Talk to us about the football before we head into the break, George. We're in danger of being a bit repetitive on the decision. How does that leave Rangers? Is that a disappointment today, or because you came back, is it encouraging?
So where we were at half time, I'd have took a draw, to be honest, but I did go into the game thinking we were going to win it, to be honest. But after being 2-0 down at half time and coming back the way we did, I think it showed like real fighting spirit for us. But obviously it just means it's a big massive game at Parkhead. And there was one other thing I wanted to ask. Do you think Jack Butland has maybe made Gareth Southgate open his eyes a bit to him? Obviously he was the other day to watch him. Do you think he's done enough to maybe...
Do you think he had a good game today?
I think he had a couple of great saves. Obviously the first goal is just a freak goal. You can't really blame him for that, and then it's a penalty. But I think he had a couple of really good saves in the first half, especially to keep us in it, because if it wasn't for him we were going in 3 or 4 nothing down at half time.
Yeah, it was definitely a good save from Matt O'Reilly's header, but with Gareth Southgate in attendance, what did you think of his performance? By his standards, remember?
By his standards, I don't think he had his best game, right? I thought that, the header from O'Reilly is a terrific save. I think Maeda from the save, that's quite a simple save for him. We question, could he have done better at Ida's goal? You know, and that's a compliment to Jack Butland. We're not being criticising him here. It's a compliment because of how good he's been as a Rangers goalkeeper, and you expect such high standards. Gareth Southgate, and watching today, look, I don't think he's just got to judge him in one game, surely, but I don't think he was at his very, very best.
Gareth Southgate obviously chose the fixture carefully because he wants to see him in the biggest match of the season. And you know, the goalkeeper, good bits and bad bits. The good bits were very good, the bad bits were a bit iffy.
There was times that, and I don't know if the wind played a part in it, but a couple of times in the first half he's kicking when he was getting closed down, looked a wee bit subject as well. So look, he's a top class goalkeeper, of that there's no doubt. And Rangers fans can look back and think, well, he kept us in the game, although it was 2-0, because he pulled off a terrific save from Matt O'Reilly, and it gave Rangers that opportunity. The next goal was going to be so important. They got that and they ended up with a point.
I thought he had one of his poorer afternoons, got to say. I thought he made one good save, but seeing the first goal back, I know it's a freak goal, I think that's close enough. He's a good enough goalkeeper to maybe stop that. I think Ida's goal is very close to him as well. And I do think his kicking all day was erratic and pretty poor. So one of his poorer days for me, and he is a very good goalkeeper. Sorry, bad day for Southgate to watch.
Yeah, thank you to George on the line. If you call us right now, we'll try and get you on in the last part of the show.
The games are over. The talking begins. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
We're in the final part. It has been on the clock a long day, but I think this has absolutely flown in because it was such an eventful game, so many talking points. The phone lines are absolutely red hot still, and don't worry, we can do it all over again tomorrow. Without wasting any more time then, let's bring in Michael, who's a bit closer to home. We've had Yosemite National Park, we've had Sacramento. Michael's in Clydebank. What did you make of it, Michael?
Cheers for taking my call.
Pleasure.
I'm pretty pleased with the result, and I would just like to get an opinion on Cameron Carter-Vickers' performance today. I thought he was absolutely outstanding for Celtic today. As captain today. I thought he really led as well. Defended absolutely brilliant. Dessler's never got a sniff actually today, and that's my main point. What do you think of his performance?
He's crucial, absolutely crucial. And I'll keep repeating this over and over. If Celtic win the next 6 games, they win the league. And if Cameron Carter-Vickers is in the team for those 6 games, there's every chance Celtic will win them. He is essential to what happens between now and the end of the season. I thought at times Liam Scales wobbled significantly, particularly in the second half. Carter-Vickers is essential.
Yeah, some of the blocks he made, and particularly in the second half, shows how crucial he is. I thought actually in the first half, there was a wee period that there was a couple of balls played up and Cameron Carter-Vickers tried to step in front of Dessers, and Dessers showed decent strength, but apart from that, I thought he handled the threat from Rangers fine. But what I like about Carter-Vickers as well, and people sort of overlook as well, the way that Celtic want to play and build for the back, Carter-Vickers is a huge part of that. You saw Rangers today, and their game plan was to leave Scales on the ball in the first 45 minutes. And Scales, more often than not, going to give you it back. Carter-Vickers, they don't leave on the ball, but he's so good on it that starts those moves, starts playing it into O'Reilly and Hatate and McGregor when he comes on. So that's a huge part of how Brendan Rodgers wants his team to play.
He's a terrific defender. Of that, there's
he
no
does
doubt.
Make some difference, doesn't he? I mean, in fairness, Celtic have, ironically, the 2 games that he's missed against Rangers this season, Celtic have won. He plays today and they don't win, but clearly individually you can see it all throughout.
Yeah, and I think they were lucky to have him there today, because I thought first half, and I said it at half time, I thought Celtic defensively were excellent. Their back four, I thought the way they went about their business, covered each other, really snuffed Rangers out. Second half, I thought Celtic's back four looked a bit ropey for me. I think Carter-Vickers, they were lucky to have him in there because Scales wasn't at his best. Johnston, conceded the penalty kick, and then his mistake at the end with Matondo's goal. Sima come on, was looking to give Taylor a bit of a hard time down the left hand side as well. So I think it's a sort of a mixed bag between them, but Carter Vickers is so important for
Michael. Sorry, I was going to ask Michael if you're the type that takes the positives from the first half, looks at the fixture coming up at Celtic Park. Is this a good outcome for Celtic, this, or are you not going that far?
No, I think for the first half performance, I wasn't surprised. I thought we were, because the last game we dominated Rangers at Parkhead in the first half. It's the second half it's a problem for us. We need to knit it together, do a full 90. No, I think at Parkhead, and actually, I think we'll have them at Parkhead with the fans behind us. I mean, for you to say the Rangers were going to beat us 3-0 is incredible.
It's a very good point to end the show on. Come on, for the 539th time in your career, you're going to have to hold your hands up for a utterly woeful prediction.
It was a scandal. But you know,
out the window in 20 seconds is a new one though.
Yeah, but at least David Friel was not only out, but out by 6 goals.
No. Just because somebody's worse than you doesn't take the pressure off.
Yep, got it very badly wrong. Now, Michael can take his opinion of me, and where the sun doesn't shine comes to mind. Because
has today changed your thoughts on the likelihood that Celtic could win this title? Because clearly before the game, if you're predicting Rangers 3-0, you think Rangers will go on and win the league. Is that
to go out on Michael's point? If there is Carter Vickers, there is dependability. If there is no Carter Vickers, there is vulnerability. So Carter Vickers has to be there for the last 6 games. I'm not sure that McGregor will be there for any of those games. I think he was
he's back though.
I know, but I'm not convinced that he's fit.
He's not going to miss the next 6 games though, then, is he?
Who are you predicting to win the league now?
If Celtic win the 6 games, and I believe they are capable of it, they'll win the league. What they have to
win all theirs, they'll win the league.
No, that's not. Well, yes, that is the case. Yes, but in other words, you're asking Celtic to beat Rangers at Celtic Park. That is obviously crucial to the outcome. But Celtic have dropped 9 points to Kilmarnock and Hearts this season, and they'll need to go to Rugby Park. They'll get Hearts at Celtic Park after the split, but it is in their hands. Win 6, win the league.
It's in both their hands. That's the beauty of it.
That's
why we're set
that's
for
the excitement of the run.
Exciting finish.
That's why I think that if you looked at Rangers today, if they'd go and pick the 3 points up and win at Dundee, I think they would have been well favourites to go and win it. It's very open. It might be a case where Rangers just need to go to Celtic Park and come away with a draw, but there's a lot of difficult games to go before that. That's what the excitement is. We've got a bit of it today. It was fantastic. There's more to come.
Well, let's go back to back then. Let's hear from both managers on that title race. We'll start with the home manager this afternoon, who was, of course, Rangers boss Philippe Clement.
It's, for me, one thing is important. We showed what we're about in the second half. So that's why we're the moral winners also to come back in that way after 0-2. I don't think it happened too much in Old Firm games. But now it's putting focus on Dundee. Big game again. And all the focus is on that, not on the ranking or the points. So you will not catch me saying these things or thinking these things the next couple of weeks. That's something for maybe the last 2. Maybe the last game. That depends how many points other teams take. I don't have any control of that. We're going to go game by game with our squad.
A pitch is in a really strong position. We still have a lot of work to do. There's still 6 games to go. But when you have your nearest rival to play at home in front of 60,000, and you know you're going to be stronger again when you get to that moment, I'm very happy with that.
Yeah. I know why we do it, and so much was pinned on how decisive today was, but I wonder if it was always actually about this week, because we really need to know how it lies when they've all played the same amount of games. So I know we wanted to say if Rangers win today or if Celtic win today, but surely actually 10 o'clock Wednesday night is the time to make that assessment.
Well, very interesting again from Philippe Clement describing Rangers as moral winners today. I'm not sure about that at all. Because I think that Celtic, for the most part, the fans didn't think they would get out of there with a point. So I would question this description of moral winners. He has to go to Dens Park and win. And you're right, on Wednesday at 10 o'clock, we can all come at it from our own point of view, perspective, call it what you will. But for me, I'm happy to say that today, the biggest game in the season so far gave us the best game we have seen this season so far. And the league is still up for grabs.
It was an absolute epic, it has to be said. Celtic hang on to top spot after a 6-goal thriller at Ibrox. Celtic 2-0 up at the break. Rangers pulled it back and levelled. Celtic went 3-2 up, and then a late Rabi Matondo equaliser meant it was a share of the spoils. There was talking points, there was drama, there was controversy, there was pieces of excellence, there was mistakes. It had absolutely everything, and that's why the phone lines were so busy today, and we thank you for it. The good news is, for those of you who couldn't get through, tomorrow night 6 o'clock, you would not want to be anywhere else. We will speak to you then.
Get up to £400 off selected Peloton bike and tread purchases and let our classes energise your day. That's school run, easy after 20 minutes on the bike, back-to-back meetings.
Sorry I'm late.
No problem after a yoga class. Power up with up to £400 off selected Peloton bike and tread purchases and make day-changing energy.
Offer ends 8th of April. Internet connection and Peloton all access membership at £39 a month required to access Peloton content. Terms apply. See onepeloton.co.uk.